map between the two Latin America teams of Black Dragons and yeah. And as I said earlier on, this could be our very first all Latin America matchup. Because this is the only group. It's the only group that has two Latin America teams in it. Number one.
Yep.
And depending on which teams do make it through the group stages, there could only end up being two Latin America teams that meet up. If I recall correctly, we didn't see Latin America teams compete against each other in Year 2 Season 3, nor Year 2 Season 2. So this could be it. But
and as we were talking about it, right off the bat, you see that they're going to be going into the lobby to avoid the Glaz, but it's going to be Black Dragons, so Psycho not being the one on Glaz, but GCR picking up the Glaz. So we are going to see some Glaz play. No Ying, which could potentially help their push in the upstairs, but I definitely, I don't see Glaz making too much of an impact on this take.
No, take a look. You've got Yuna, who almost exclusively played Blitz on attack in the qualifiers. Every single game I recall seeing Yuna was on Blitz like 70–80% of the time. He's going to be on a Thermite. There's no Hibana being brought. My assumption being with them bringing Thermite, they were likely imagining Black Dragons would be starting off in the garage downstairs. That is not the case at all. So they have a Glaz, but I don't know necessarily how much they're going to be well-tailored to taking the site, because your first step is going to be clear out that second floor and get control. Projector, which is the site of one of the bombs, if you're on the second floor, is going to be the biggest area that you fight over, because you're usually going to have a smoker and anchor up there. There's a hatch up there that they can rotate through. They're usually going to have kill holes through the floor. You've got a sledge there for that vertical destructibility that can replace a buck, but look at how heavy that hold is up top. And immediately they're going to find them within the first 40 seconds.
Yep, they got mirrors on both sides. They have a Valkyrie playing on yellow stairs. There's not much mobility for entering. If they want to go into admin, there's also a mirror there. So they're going to have to switch up their play style and see where they're going to attack from. And they're going to need to attack as a team, because although Black Dragons is spread out evenly, they're in some pretty tough spots, and they're able to come to the help of their teammates when needed.
You see how spread out Yeah is right now. It looks like they're all trying to entry through different points. You've got FK inside a bathroom. Yuna was putting a lot of pressure on Connector, and it's PZD and WAG hold up upstairs inside of Projector room. You can see there's PZD right there. He had joined the smoke up top at that overturned table over top of bomb site B in the main lobby. You've taken half a minute now. There's been no real contact. PZD had to rotate after taking some damage from Yuna. That's what we saw the Thermite do battle up on Connector. Now spawns just on yellow stairs, looking to see if there's anybody downstairs. From a quick peek, it did not look like there were any late flanks. You're going to have a very heavy upstairs hold, and then most of the others actually sitting on the site.
Yep, so they're just going to quickly reset Yuna to get his HP up. The only person with damage on the team is PZD, but the only player on site is Julio, who's going to be playing inside of the piano room. Now, if they do an aggressive push straight into site, I could potentially see it working, since they don't have the hatch open, but WAG will drop down to the assist Yuna as FK picks up Psycho, but they are going to be pushing and thermiting open the bathroom while the WAG is in there, and Julio has a good sight line onto them, but he's opening up as GCR gets a kill from the front. Julio goes down, thermites are going off, WAG's in a little room, and Yuna takes him down. Nobody has died on the attacking side yet, and PZD and Kamikaze are the last ones to stop the plant. They could potentially do it since time is slowly ticking down, but unfortunately for them, Yuna is getting bombed down safely. The PZD is going to take out GCR in the main lobby, but all of Gaming is set up for this as Spawns get some shots onto Kamikaze, but Kamikaze is going to re-peek and get the kill successfully. Good double peek from Kamikaze and PZD. They are going to try getting some wall bangs, and PZD is going to get Yuna through the wall. 2v2. Health is limited on the defense side, but PZD is going to get taken down, and Sledge is stuck inside of the bathroom. He's going to chuck a nade right out, but Kamikaze is going to kill him out. But now he's in a 1v1. Kamikaze is coming in, gets a kill, but Revolt cleans him up, and that's a round for Gaming. Great play from them there.
So a strong start on what was a bit of a lack of coordination from them on their push. They were droning for each other, but they were going to be entering and doing entry largely by themselves. Didn't have the buddy system with them to fight for a potential trade. My biggest worry was when we were spectating PZD upstairs inside a projector, those kill holes that were created by the shotgun of Wag's smoke were very limited. It didn't offer a great view of the typical entry points into lobby where you would see a plant go down. And Yuna smartly planted off in an area that it's not very common on that site, and caused what was left of Black Dragons to have to fight through the site as all of Yeah Gaming collapsed on the site itself. I was surprised that was far too close for what was originally a 4v2 in favor of Yeah Gaming. And I know that we touched on Yuna being a prolific blitz, but the original Latin American blitz is Julio, and he brings it out in style. They are well prepared to be able to take anything that comes their way attacking on the garage of Consulate.
Yeah, they have a blitz Ying setup, so that's definitely going to be blinding a ton of people as they push in the site. But Yeah Gaming is setting up a little piano and bathroom mirrors, so it might come into play as if Julio and PZD try to push completely through the site. They're going to be able to help from above. Now, something that Black Dragons didn't do that we touched on was that they didn't make the holes in piano shooting through the floor. Or anything such as. They only had it really in the spiral room. They had so much, they could have made so many more holes to help and deny the plant, but unfortunately they didn't. Hopefully, Yeah is able to capitalize on their mistake and make some more holes in the basement and use them to potentially stop the plant if Julio and PZD push through.
They left the hatch soft in bathroom so that Yuna is able to rotate relatively quickly. Then there's a good possibility that Black Dragons could just attack the garage panels and not really worry about it. Psycho, meanwhile, able to snipe that mirror as Revolt has his back turned to the drone. Of course, one change with that drone is the fact that it has a limited amount of shocks, but still, if you use even one of those to take out a mirror, then you have successfully used your Twitch drone the way it is intended. So working as intended right there. Open up both panels of the garage. No real way for the attackers to hide behind any of those exposed panels. We see some teams will do that, and they've lined up with the Ying and the Blitz in front of those garage panels to begin their push. As Wag lies prone, just waiting at the drone hole.
I mean, there's nothing to stop them right now if they rush in. I mean, there is a player playing pipes, but other than that, they could go for an easy plant, which it looks like they're going to be doing. But Julio's just going to go into the white van, and Spawns is going to be the only form of attack, but he's full blind.
Listen to that, the suppressed T95 of PZD will claim 2 victims as Spawns and Revolts goes down, goes for a third, but GCR outmuscles him and finds himself being confronted head-on from the charging Blitz. No chance there whatsoever, and now a 4v2 favoring Black Dragons, same as what we saw last time. A 4v1 though as Yuna gets pulverized by Psycho, and now Blitz will just bully his way up spiral stairs, and Julio eliminating FK, a faker of Yeah. That's going to even things out as Black Dragons takes round number 2. So far, both attacking teams doing quite well.
Yeah, you were talking about how Julio was the original Blitz player, and he definitely shined there. PZD also was able to get a couple of frags with his entry on the Ying. Questionable muzzle attachment, but you know, if it gets kills, it works. So regardless, good push from them again. Yeah, didn't really have anything to stop that, and that's what we were touching on before. They should have made more holes through the floor if they were going to play up there. They were uncontested. Black Dragons really read into it really well. They just pushed straight through, got the kills they needed, got bombed down, and again, the lack of openings left Yeah at a gasp for air, losing the round.
So we see an unsuccessful lobby hold. We see an unsuccessful garage hold. Yeah goes back to defense. Or sorry, Black Dragons goes back to defense. And they're not going to throw any curveballs. They're not going to try to do lobby again. I would imagine they're probably going to go with a site that maybe works a little bit better for them. Both teams running a mute on this site. Yeah used it to try to cordon off the bathroom upstairs. But right now it doesn't look like that's how Kamikaze's going to be applying it at all. It looks like he's going to try to lock down the site itself inside of A, which is where you're usually going to have your Mira play with a rotate, as you can see right in there, through the office into the kitchen or the staff room itself.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try and bandit trick the wall, and Yeah's got to be thinking here that they have to take the top floor. I know it was kind of neglected in their last attack, but for this, if they really wanted to work and get WAG out of that spot, they're going to have to take piano, and if there's someone upstairs on the top floor, they're going to have to deal with them. I'm seeing a trend where people aren't really dealing with the issues, especially the top floor. They kind of try to minimize their movement and just do what they need to do, and rather than solving the problem itself. So.
Yeah, Gaming just treading water at the moment. You can see Revolt's basically idle for 20 seconds. Time that could potentially be better spent by teams droning, coordinating, planning, rotating, etc. Because if at some point a change needs to be made, and there we go, there does appear to be a very quick change as they are working their way towards the main lobby, looking to see who all is inside a bathroom. One exothermic charge is going to go off. Very likely target is one of those panels downstairs where GCR is set up, and he's somebody else that we've seen play a lot of Glass. There's a lot of mirror matches that we see on this team. Proficient Blitz players, proficient Glass players, and nothing too odd. Now, a very similar strategy being employed by Yeah Gaming. They'll open up both panels and do some serious renovation work on the wall, looking into the other bomb site of A, just in cafeteria, where you can see the Mira has now pushed up, sitting behind the white van.
Yeah, and again, there isn't much to deal with them if they did a quick plant or push, but Julio is going to be there, so he'll be able to have the C4, and the Mira is also in play. But there's not much vertical play going on right now. They don't have piano. They can't shoot through the floor. It looks like they're just going to try and do a rough push through the garage, and hopefully it works. But as I say that, Psycho is going to take down Yeah, and that is going to FK from Yeah, and that is going to give the advantage to Black Dragons.
Now they've lost one. Their sledge smokes are coming out. You're getting into the final moments of round number 3. Those mute jammers are proving to be quite a headache. You saw a couple drones being dispatched by members of Yeah, but there was no way they could gather any of that information because it was being shut down by the jammers themselves. Kamikaze waiting to see who's going to push through yellow, and down goes Revolts. That's the Hibana who had backed up onto the landing. And the Mute just takes very quick work of him. Sees another, as that's the Ash, as he'll try to out-peek spawns. Can't, and a volley now, as GCR's suppressed Glass is able to eliminate Julio, but still advantage in favor of Black Dragons. 3-3, Diffuser goes down, and no, it is a lot more even than it looks. It's Yeah Gaming who now is the one in the driver's seat. They're just gonna wait and see if anybody peeks them. You can tell that WAG, situated on top of yellow stairs, knows that the Ash is somewhere nearby. Both he and Psycho within very short distance of each other. PZD from above eliminates GCR, and you can see there had been a Claymore set up in case there was a run out. PZD just eliminates him through the window as Spawn's able to pick off WAG, who had come a little too aggressively onto yellow stairs. The Claymore, though, speak of the devil, gets PZD, and Yuna finishes things off. So the attackers are now sticking 3 in a row, and that PZD got a little too brazen, blown to pieces. The Thermite just sits by the front of the garage and finishes things off, and Yeah, now they trade back and forth.
Yeah. PCD was sort of doing work trying to bring the player count in favor of them, but it's such a difficult position to try and retake, especially if they get the bomb down in your garage. They had someone watching yellow stairs. It wasn't fortunate for them. PCD tried his best, got 2 picks for his team, but unfortunately jumped out way too early and ended up meeting his doom to a Claymore. And in a position where you have to push outside to attack an attacker to get the bomb defused, it's almost unlikely. And Yeah Gaming is in the lead, 2-1 against Black Dragons, and they are going to be going to the basement. They are bringing in a Rook. Yuna is going to be on the Rook, which, I mean, ACOG is really useful on this map, especially as the armor. I wonder if he's going to be going for potential spawn peek, but Black Dragons is going to counter with Julio on Blitz, Psycho on the Glass that we've predicted, and PZD back on the Ying. It looks like it's going to be another aggressive play.
So the full force trifecta.
Exactly. And PZD's up there. He's been doing work on the LA Ying play that he's been doing. He's been being impactful for his team.
So you've got Blitz, you've got a Glaz, you've got a Blackbeard, you've got a Ying. You sub that Hibana out for Ashe, and you have all five parts of Exodia there. The 5 operators that defenders love having to deal with. And Black Dragons not only has the technical skill to make sure that these operators go the distance, but also the understanding of them. These are comfortable roles for most of these players, and it's going to be punishing if Ya isn't ready for it. Tie into the fact that the attackers have not lost a single round yet, and Ya is going to have their work cut out for them as round number 4 begins by a very heavy roam from GCR all the way upstairs, just by the long desk, playing inside a projector where he saw the front of the shield to Blitz and very wisely backed off.
Now, playing Blitz, especially for Latin America, I haven't seen much Blitz play from the other regions, but Latin America is definitely showing us that it's worth it, because on big maps, especially for teams that enjoy the roaming, it's really good to counter them, especially you can just sit there, and if someone tries to push you, you blind them. We saw this previously when Montang was buffed. You would take a shield to roam clear. Now it's Blitz that he's able to run. It saves a lot of time, not a lot of risk, and if Blitz dies, you know, it's just a flash shield, 2 smokes. But if he's able to catch someone in a little corner, it's likely going to go into his favor.
Just some work being done as the Blitz is the one roam clearing right now. Up on the 2nd floor is a long way to go to get down to the basement. They're just going to sit. They're just waiting very patiently. This is what we've seen now a couple rounds in. We see EU teams who take an awful lot of time to get some action going here. It's not usual that Latin America teams opt for strats that require the final 30 seconds to make their push.
I think it's because they're so used to each other that they don't want to use what they've normally been using against each other in scrims. They want to try and maybe change it up and bring something new to the game. And I think that's what we're seeing from Yak. But Julio, as on the Blitz, is going to take down FK, and that's the 2nd round in a row where the Blitz has proven to absolutely annihilate.
When he was playing on Oregon in Sao Paulo, he was usually good for at least 1 kill, maybe 2. The T95 with that suppressor on it might be one of the most unique sounds in this entire game. It sounds like when you stick a baseball card in the spokes of your bike tire, you hear the thumping noise as the tire rotates. But first smoke goes out, great timing, and the final push has to start now. 9 operators still alive, just under 20 seconds. You can see Wag knows where Julio is. I don't know if they're trying to clear out servers still, but GCR might just let the Blitz go right through. Up prone, sneaking Ella is going to come up behind. PZD gets 1. Oh, sorry, GCR gets 1. Kamikaze goes down. Yuno eliminates PZD, and GCR eliminates and finishes off Julio as Psycho takes out Spawns. Diffuser goes off right in the dying seconds of that round as PZD somehow had managed to get away originally from GCR, who goes for another, but Psycho there to take him out, gets punished himself, but Wag finishes up, Yuna falls, and the attackers keep the streak alive. That's 4 in a row for them. Just back and forth. It doesn't matter what site we're going to.
Psycho just absolutely went to town. He was a impact in that round itself. They were down. GCR made that beautiful flank, downing Julio and claiming a kill, and then eventually picked up Julio. Picked up as in killed him. But then Kamikaze and Psycho were both left alone, and Psycho was able to get 2 kills, 1 beautiful headshot with a glass from that range, super close range, and Yuna was able to get the kill, but Wag was there to trade him out. So it was a great play from them. Great individual skill, too.
And we see some reconnecting going on. So a rehost does appear to be imminent. So we'll head back to us for just a moment or two as everything gets sorted out with them. A very close match. I know that there were some people saying that there were a couple dark horses looking at which teams could potentially go far. If you go on and you glean the comments from Twitter, from YouTube videos, from Discord chats, from the Reddits, and speaking from the various subreddits rather, and then speaking to players themselves, the 3 teams that seem to be not just the biggest unknowns, but the 3 teams that had come so far that you could potentially see an upset, if we call them that, would be not just 1UP, but also add to that, Yeah Gaming.
Yep.
And that is not a surprise. Yeah, Gaming is included among them and has so far proven their mettle by being able to stand up to what would be, I guess by numbers, the second best team last season, finishing second overall to ENTS, and a powerhouse within Latin America. And they've done so quite valiantly. Those have been some very close rounds too. And in fact, if it wasn't for that late play by Psycho as Glaz, that very easily could have been Yaz round. GCR was able to sneak up on both Julio as well as PZD. Almost got the double kill right off the bat. Ended up finishing it off, but wow, that was much closer. Again, all of them have been very close.
Exactly. It's just going to show that any team in this competition can take it. Of course, there's going to be fan favorites, but everyone here is at the level ready to play.
Right.
Now, if it wasn't for Psycho, like I said at the beginning, the teams, the strategies are going to be similar. Again, they've been scrim partners before. They've played each other before. And I think it all comes down to on who's going to bring something new and who's going to shine and make a really good play. GCR made a good play, but Psycho just one-upped them and said, I can do better.
I mean, it was under 20 seconds left, and it was the Blitz storming up, heading into Cafeteria. Diffuser was still able to go off in time. So you had both Wag and Julio roam clearing with still 20 seconds left, trying to figure out who's playing downstairs in server. You know that there's somebody there. It was GCR, the Ella. Not exactly an ideal time to do that, but they did have a numbers advantage, and because of that, they were able to use those numbers to dispatch a couple operators to try and find the members of Yeah Gaming that could cause them some issues. GCR caused them some issues, but yeah, you're right. Psycho does get a lot of credit for that play.
It was an interesting play, too, because they roam clear. They could have taken Piano. They could have opened the garage, but instead they decided to drop from Visa into the server, and they were about to push in through the back, which is something that most teams attacking the basement won't usually go for. But, I mean, we saw it worked, and if GCR wasn't there, it probably would have gone way better.
Right. He on the flank late in the round, and Ella. And I think one of the most interesting parts of it is that we make jokes about Ella being an operator who in her uniqueness can take on two opponents at one time, being a part of, I guess, her core identity. But Ella's gun has a lot of damage drop-off, and when you're looking from inside a server all the way down to the end of that hallway by the kitchen or the cafeteria, you're not doing very much damage. You saw how it took that entire magazine to just down one and barely down the other, which for most other operators, maybe a bit more accuracy could have helped, but usually would be doing a substantial bit more damage. And even if it had been, say, a Bandit or a Jaeger, you likely would have gotten those two kills because of the damage drop-off, and because at that long a range, you wouldn't have had as much of a recoil spread as she had.
Correct, but in a situation like that, I doubt it came down to the spray control or anything like that. Of course, if he would have headshot both of them, it could have changed, but his positioning and not being found, he heard the shield and Wag pushing him, but he didn't flinch. He didn't get nervous. He wasn't worried. He stayed in the same position. They walked right by him, and he was able to make a calm decision, go behind them, get 2 kills for his team. Unfortunately, they lost because Psycho played well, but you can't anticipate plays like that, but it was a good play by him on his part.
I don't think GCR was the reason for that team's loss either. I think in anything it was made more even by his play. Now, we've seen 4 rounds. Lobby once, garage 3 times. We have not seen console office upstairs just yet. Now, could just simply be the way that the teams themselves play. Also could be because lobby, you know how proficient both teams are with Glaz players. Maybe you don't want to have to risk taking a Glaz upstairs, though I would wager that you're probably going to see more use out of a Blackbeard holding those windows than potentially a Glaz, though. I mean, you put Psycho on that console office window, or you put GCR on that console office window, and you're going to have a bad time no matter what. I would also argue that the upstairs of console empowers Ying probably more than any other site.
Correct.
The ability to be able to drop in the different ways that you can get control of certain parts of that second floor using a couple smokes or a couple flashbangs is much more numerous, I would argue, than maybe lobby and garage. So that could be a potential reason.
Yeah, the top floor, something that I'm also noticing with these teams is their Visa and admin hold. They invest a mirror there, they invest players there to attack. When they played main floor, they put 2 mirrors on both sides. Of course, if you play upstairs, I'm sure it would be different, but it would be similar. I assume that both teams have strong upstairs holds, which is why they're but they also have strong upstairs attacks, which is why maybe they're trying to avoid playing that as much as possible.
It could be. They also like a lot of roam game. Maybe they think that there's more power in being able to roam 1 to 2 floors up than having to worry about roaming below, especially if they're worried that a team might just forego the roamers and just bull rush right into the site itself. And I mean, a key aspect of that is running both Valkyrie as well as running Pulse. They are operators that we see run quite often when trying to defend the second floor. Maybe you don't have maybe you don't have somebody who is quite as proficient, though. We've been seeing Psycho play Valkyrie, and we know that he is a proficient Valk too.
Yeah, they could play it, but it could also be Julio's roam clear is absolutely devastating for them.
Right.
So potentially they don't want to have to rely so much on PZD or Psycho C4 or a Pulse Valkyrie, because Julio's going to be coming in from front door and completely like pushing everyone back from there. So then they won't have anything to stop it above. But who knows?
It could be. The teams are just starting to get into the lobby right now, so we'll be going live in just a moment or so for you. I'm waiting on an update. There should be Counter Logic Gaming and Supremacy should be going on the other channel now that Mind Freak and Rogue have been finished. And if you just want a very quick update on exactly what's been, the game actually hasn't started yet, so we'll be so Supremacy and Counter Logic will be starting sometime soon. We don't know the exact specifics. It almost feels we feel very cut off. As one of the nice things about having that break, other than resting my voice, was getting to engage in the actual like the spectacle of the group stages, which is something that we've never done at this scale before, and it's really exciting to not just do that for ourselves, but also to bring to you. So,
I mean, I definitely enjoyed casting the last match, even though it was kind of lengthy and we were cut off. It's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable experience.
It was an exciting match. I mean, Liquid looked as dominant as I think some people thought they would. Room Factory was another team that could potentially be seen as a dark horse. I did hear that there was some whispers around the practice facility that Room Factory was a team that would surprise people. I think some of the strategies that Liquid used were a bit surprising in and of themselves. It could have just been an unfavorable matchup, but I'm excited to see what Room Factory is capable of achieving tomorrow, and I'm excited to see if Liquid can secure their spot too. I know that that's a team that's been around long enough and has competed very well both online as well as off.
Yeah. I think it's something going on with the whole tournament. There's the Titans, and then there's the teams who pushed their way through qualifiers, got invited, and they've proven that they can be here and compete. And as the years keep going throughout Rainbow Six, everyone keeps coming closer and closer together at a high skill cap. So it's an exciting thing to see.
We're at a point now where the best teams in Challenger League are not that much worse than the teams in Pro League, and we're seeing that. And yeah, exactly. You go back and rewatch old Pro League matches, and you see some of the teams versus some of the other teams.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that Kix loves to say, and he's absolutely right, is that if you go back, you can almost always predict the winner of a matchup with great certainty in the early seasons of Pro League, because it's still such a young game, and the teams are still trying to find themselves. Their rosters were still coming a long way. There's a lot of people who played in Pro League that couldn't even come close to achieving that now, that had played, a year ago, or even potentially even less. I think there's people that have been playing Pro League over the last 4 months who probably will never, wind up playing Pro League again, either because their team got relegated or et cetera, et cetera. The skill gap will continue to decrease, and that's going to be good competition for everybody. And we're seeing that with Yeah Gaming. Yeah, I mean, on paper, Yeah Gaming was a team that had a a roster comprised of 7th and 8th place team members. But now look at that. They're taking the fight to the team that finished 2nd. But we're still just waiting on the rest of the players to come in here. We are going to, I don't know if we're going to throw to a break for you or not, but we...
Until then, we'll try our best to entertain. It looks like we're gonna make sure that someone did disconnect, but we're going to get everyone back into the lobby. So bear with us. Until then, I mean, 4 rounds have been played.
4 rounds have been played.
Yeah.
Lobby, garage.
Yep.
It did look like, you can't see it, but for our perspective, it did look like we were finally going to see our first 2nd floor hold. They were going upstairs to console office. A bit frustrating with the fact that we have to now wait just a little longer to see, but I want to see the 2nd floor, because we can stand here and we can speculate for potentially hours over why these teams have opted to go once to the lobby and 3 times to garage and not to the console office upstairs. But I want to see it in action.
I mean, again, these 2 teams have been scrim partners before. I think they are trying to do as different things as possible so that they stay fresh against this team. And on the same side, they're not showing stuff that they've been practicing and getting ready for other teams when they didn't know who they were going to face. So now that we're seeing kind of potentially a new and fresh Black Dragons,
Right.
And yeah, gaming. So whoever is the victor, their next opponent, or regardless, the next opponent won't be able to judge based off of this map or game, and won't be able to, give a clear reading to his team to help them beat one of these teams.
One of the knocks that I'd heard from Latin America teams was that because they take to their gunfights, they don't have as many rotating strats. So they typically will do very similar plays. They will entry very similar. They won't have as much of a wealth of different strategies. They'll make some small alterations here or there. That hasn't really been the case over the last season or two. This has been a region now that has evolved past just the take your gunfights and win, and now you've got a region that is capable of taking the gunfights, winning the gunfights, and adapting their strats on the fly. So you're not just going to outstrat them now. Now you're going to have to outshoot them. Now you're going to have to just completely beat them on every level.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of people who are saying that this could conceivably be Latin America's time.
Yeah.
They came so close.
Exactly.
They've come so close over the last 3 seasons, but they haven't been able to get there yet. This could be it, and what a better stage to do. We could potentially be seeing one of these two teams. Black Dragons obviously is going to be a favorite because of how they did in Brazil. We could be witnessing one of the two teams that could eventually make it all the way to the end. And
yep.
It's I think it's a testament to both of them. So we're just one player away from getting them all in the lobby. Black Dragons all in. Yeah, now all in. So we should be going, fingers crossed, in just a moment for you.
But
back to Consulate.
Yeah, but like you were saying about them being able to outfrag and outsmart, and I think the development of the game, almost every region now it can compete against every other region, especially now that there's more tournaments and more times for different regions to play against each other and feel out their play styles rather than 1 or 2 lands an event a year. It's gonna benefit every team. So.
It's like you said, the skill gap is shrinking. Everybody is getting better at this game. You are getting better as viewers for watching us and bearing with us. And it does appear that we are ready to get back into Consulate and console office and meeting room once again picked. So finally, we will see not the garage and not the lobby.
Thank God. But, the glass is still going to come out from GCR. So again, it could potentially be what Black Dragons was trying to avoid, but who knows. But like we were talking about, Kamikaze and Psycho are taking the Pulse Valkyrie, so they could also be doing the camera and play on meeting floor and rely on a C4 to win them the round. There's no blitz, of course. Black Dragons were the ones running blitz.
I don't think we've seen Yuna run a blitz at all.
No, we haven't. Something that I would like to see, though, is FK has been roaming, and he's been getting picked early when he roams, and on attack when he attacks, by Julio in particular. So maybe if he could try switching it up in this next round, and who knows? New bomb site.
I mean, it's one thing to get picked as a roamer without getting, a kill or anything along those lines. It's a totally different to get picked off in the first 30 to 40 seconds because you basically want to set yourself up, depending on the team you're playing with, you basically want to be able to kill a minute at minimum of time off the clock. A lot of that is going to just simply be on efficiency of a team's drones. If they can't drone efficiently, if they can't communicate well, if they can't, synchronize their own movements and their pushes, it's probably about 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds that are just going to be wasted on inadequate communication amongst your team. But if you can kill an extra minute on top of that, you're now depriving that team of the freedom that they need to take their time when they know they've gotten a pick. Julio being able to find FK right at the start every single time means that Ya is now fighting from behind almost every round very early on. This is not the case, however, as we are about to hit the halfway mark and both teams playing cautiously, everybody's still alive.
Correct. It's one of those situations where people over-anticipate and think, oh, roamers need to get all the kills, they need to do everything. But if you stall and waste time and you just stay alive, then you're doing your job. You don't need to get the kills. Some teams like EG, their site players are actually the ones who end up, getting some good kills. So it's something that people kind of overlook. And right now, EA Gaming doesn't really look like they've made a push yet. But also Black Dragons is very, I want to say, like, spread out across the map. They know what they're doing.
They put GCR up on that console window. That's a great place for your Glass to be. Julio taking some pressure inside a closet and will now get finished off by Faker or FK1. That's the mirror gone from inside of closet, so Psycho will now move in to take his position. We mentioned the Pulse as well as the Valkyrie being almost pivotal on this stage, and look at the two operators being run both by Black Dragon. 40 seconds though, Psycho gonna absorb some bullets inside of Connector. Now the Glass of GCR jumping through the smoke. A big rally as Psycho gets 2 and Kamikaze adds. That'll leave Yuna and Revolts left. It is 4-2, make it 4-1 as Wag finishes off Revolt. Yuna all alone inside a console office. We'll have to contend with that Mira as well as numerous angles. Takes the head off of Wag on a great shot, but Kamikaze finishes it off. And Black Dragons wins, meaning that defense gets its very first win, and on a site that we had yet to see.
All they had to do was go upstairs. But something that I didn't really understand was, yeah, kind of, they got the console office, and yes, the mirror was there, but they also had, I believe it was Spawns or Revolt on the bathroom window, the sledge. And he had an angle all the way into Connector, so they didn't have to be worried of anyway. If anything, they should have been worried about below the Pulse and Valkyrie that they had. So it's just seeing, I forget who was the Glass, but seeing them just run through and, oh yeah, instead of GCR just running through instead of holding position, especially when the mirror was covered, it was unneeded. They could have just got a quick plant. Maybe they would have got C4'd, maybe they wouldn't have. But regardless, playing overly aggressive didn't help them in the end. So giving Black Dragons the advantage. And like we talked about, upstairs was the tiebreaker, so the first defense round, I believe, to win. And now Black Dragons is going to be on the attack. Switching things up, but they still are going to have the Ying and Blitz, but instead they're going to be bringing IQ and Zo, or how Antero says it, Zosia.
Zofia was how we were corrected by our fellow Polish friends inside the office. Zofia is now.
Oh,
it's Zosha's out. I lost that battle.
Zofia.
Zosha sounds so nice, but we're not going to rehash this for the time being. So downstairs, where no team has been successful just yet, Yeah Gaming is going to hope to break that curse. Only win coming just previously upstairs, and they'll push up towards the garage. With the exception of a Glass, this does look like a very similar grouping of operators previously that Black Dragons used on Garage. You've got IQ to try to hunt down potentially a Pulse, potentially a Valkyrie if they're being used. Right now, the gadget of IQ will be helpful for finding potentially the LMINs, potentially finding the ADSs, but is not going to be integral. It's not a key component of this push. They'll get one of the panels open, though, as Psycho now moves up towards the front of Garage. He'll just look in and do some drone work for his team, as Julio also on drone, as good support players will do. And that drone work was being done, as you can see, to spot the LMIN, and that's exactly what they were noting for the team, because likely when you push through that giant hole in the garage, you're going to trigger one.
I think Kamikaze brought the IQ in anticipation that they would have brought an Echo. But as for the Zofia, I've yet to figure out, maybe they're just going to chuck as many, Zofia's ability.
Oh, Zofia's the lifeline, her concussive grenades,
of course. Her concussive grenades, yes. So I'd assume she'd shoot them as Ying and Blitz push in, and Kamikaze would just be there for the support.
It looks like they're actually going to get as little use out of that smoke as they possibly can. They're still droning the smoke squad, but there's no plant that's being done. PZD tosses the 2 smokes, and they wait. FK from above is going to have a great ability to seed down when the attackers push in and potentially be able to get a kill or 2. Not just halting the push in its place, but also depriving them of numbers and grabbing that diffuser down. The Rook of Yuna beheads Psycho. So long to your Zofia. Now Faker from above tries to light up PZD. Isn't able to secure the kill as Blitz just keeps on going. Kamikaze gets first kill for Black Dragons as Faker goes down.
Oh, wow.
Spawns trades off Julio. An ill-advised time for you to aim down the sights of your gun. But Wag and Kamikaze answer back before Spawns is able to give PZD a shotgun blast to the chest, leaving the IQ and the Thermite of Kamikaze and Wag up against the Ella and the Smoke. Two very good operators on defense to be able to clutch this.
Correct. PZD was right next to Mira and just kind of let him go. Maybe, I was going to say maybe he was blind, but you can't get blind. But Spawns is going to take up Wag, leaving Kamikaze with a sliver of HP in a 1v2 and 10 seconds ticking down. He isn't likely going to win it, and GCR is just going to put a bullet in his spine and win the round for his team.
Very technical term.
Yeah.
For it was.
Yeah.
Upper part of a spine.
Exactly.
You don't usually walk away from those.
Yeah. But that was quite a round.
That was quite a round. It was a good volley back and forth. I liked that both the teams were able to trade. The biggest issue for me, the push completely fell apart. Black Dragons was able to blow up both the panels on the garage, threw in the smokes, threw in the Candelas, but they all ended up basically being a waste.
Yeah, I was confused because the Candelas, both Ying and Julio and I believe it was PZD were both back white van right next to the mirror. And I don't know if Julio blinded him by accident, but Mira just completely ran by and unfortunately got Julio killed because his smoke peeked around the corner and killed him while he dropped his shield.
Yeah, he tried to ADS at the running Mira and just bad timing as it was the smoke there to back clean up, so to speak. Lobby, though. So Black Dragons wins on console upstairs. They're going to go to lobby, which is where they went round number 1. They won upstairs. So now you've got to think to yourself, okay, we know that our upstairs hold is good enough to win a round. Can we replicate that, but do it for a difference?
I mean, the previous lobby hold that we watched at the beginning of the game wasn't fortunate for the defending team. It wasn't really good. But this hold that they're doing and having both the mirrors upstairs and super aggressive play, it worked. Their strat, in the end, worked. But the thing is they didn't have holes anywhere to stop the plant. If they would have had them in CEO office to be able to look down into piano, they would have potentially been able to completely shut down the strat and get the bomb down and win the round essentially for them. Because I remember it had like 15 seconds when the bomb was going down. So hopefully they're able to adapt and make some more holes, make some more movement, able to read the situation better. But it definitely looks like a different situation from Yak.
Oh boy, PZD goes to try to challenge and loses that fight very, very quickly to Spawns. The Ash gets a kill within the first 40 seconds. And now it's not FK1 who's the one going down, it's PZD, a different Ella player. But you're not going to be able to conserve as much time now where you have one of the most powerful operators on defense at the moment gone, and a tremendous shot as well in PZD.
Yep, and now Julio is going to get the kill onto Revolts. That's the Mira, and like we said, he's an impact player. He definitely brings a lot to the team and to the game itself, just evening the man count out as half of the time is already gone. And they do have some control of upstairs, but Black Dragons is still just around the corner, and Spawns is going to come to a nose-to-nose situation with Wag soon.
Psychos does take a chunk out of GCR's health, but not too much, drops him just around 75 or so. They've taken control up top of Projector. That's where that overturned table is. And they're still trying to figure out where to go next. So that's good control for them, but they don't have the copy room. They don't have admin office. You can see that's where Psycho is right now. Tried to challenge up on a Projector, but fell off as he saw Spawns peek around the corner. And you're a Valkyrie. You're not typically trying to be contending with the destruction that was caused by the Ash in a straight-up gunfight.
Absolutely not. The R4C beats Valkyrie's MPX 9 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10.
Oh, I don't know about 10 times, but 9 times?
Yeah, 9. Okay.
Every time.
All right. It's better. It's really better. But time's ticking down, and they still have control. Black Dragons has control of admin office, and yeah, it doesn't seem to be contesting them or bothered at all. It looks like they're going to go for a simple push, like one that they did at the beginning. But Black Dragons is also in bathroom. That's Julio. He's going to get tagged down to 1 HP, and Psycho's going to get spawned upstairs. So that is the flank watcher down. So potential flank coming in. Wag is going to be coming in from the spiral, but they opened up bathroom as Yuna is going to be walking through and meet Julio as FK comes in the corner and gets kamikaze, but nobody's seen Julio yet. He has 1 HP with 5 seconds yet. Oh, he's going to turn around the corner. Psycho's going to get one. Julio's going to get one, and the bomb's going to be going down from Yuna with 1 HP, but he gets off because both of the defenders were right next to him, and didn't look good for him.
And another defensive win. And they do it on the lobby. And it wasn't necessarily because of the setup that they had from the previous round. We now head to match point. The defense have now won 3 rounds in the row after 4 attacking rounds in a row. If we see Gaming win this, then we go to overtime, which would necessitate a rehost, and then we would determine which team is going to defend twice. Yeah.
Black Dragons, honestly, I don't think the strat had anything to do with it, like you said. It was just really good mid-round adaptation. They were able to move into the admin office. They weren't contested. Yeah, I mean, you can't blame for not pushing. It's a rough situation. You don't want to push into a crossfire that they have there. Unfortunately for them, Spawns was taken down by the flank, and he was the flank watcher. So after he went down, it was mostly going to collapse unless a push into site was able to deter it. But unfortunately, they missed Julio. He was able to get a kill, and ended up coming.
So this is the first time that Gaming is going to defend this site upstairs. Only seen it once. It was Black Dragons, so it has been successfully defended every time so far, even though it is, albeit a very small sample size. Also important to note, I think, at this time, that this was Gaming's pick. They were the ones who wanted to play on Consulate. You know, we still have we still have Border, we still have Oregon potentially on the docket, depending on what happens in Consulate. You potentially lose your own map. Now, I said that at the beginning that this was a map that Black Dragons would feel very comfortable playing on. It's not too much of a surprise, but for Gaming on defense, running up against a Glaz, running up against your Ying, and it's a Glaz and a Ying being used potentially effectively on that second floor.
Yep.
How do you get the most value out of those 2 operators on this push?
I mean, you could always do the standard route by getting into admin, but Glaz that's underused, if you take CEO, the only 2 main parts of CEO, if nobody's playing in CEO, is the connector mirror that they have and the main door. And all you need is 2 smokes to cover that. If you're able to cover that and have Glaz look through the smokes too, then you can have a repel in and plant. Which the last push that did, or the push that did, it would have worked if they would have done that. But unfortunately they didn't, so hopefully Black Dragons will be able to adapt based off of Gaming's fault. But now they're just an admin. So honestly, it's going to be a slow take from Black Dragons. They're kind of spreading around.
Half of the round to go on match point. The screen doesn't say match point, but the scoreline at the top, Black Dragons currently winning 4-3, suggests exactly that. On attack, the attackers have won 4 rounds, defenders have won 3. Right now, advantage in favor of Black Dragons, just simply based upon that. And they're just going to wait and very patient. Black Dragons, we've seen it before. Chalet was a very good opportunity to see this. It was that on Chalet, Black Dragons would just wait. The smoke gets taken down. Ella prone behind that couch. And you can see that Psycho is going to inhale some toxic gas, but GCR just waits. His teammate falls right next to him, unit down, so he may not be seen until map number 2. Kamikaze eliminates FK, and Black Dragons doing a tremendous job. Spawns gets the first kill for as Julio falls. You can see that the Ella of GCR gets lit up. Spawns now goes down to Wag. Only 2 members of Gaming left. They have 4 members of Black Dragons. It's just GCR with a shred of health. Not looking good. Psycho sees the leg just for a second, and Black Dragons is going to take map number 1. And yes, this was indeed Gaming's pick.
I mean, again, definitely showing that they're comfortable, especially on Gaming's pick. Psycho playing absolutely monstrous, especially on the Glaz. Glaz is just... in every other meta, I haven't seen Glaz used as well as Psycho used Glaz in this match, and Latin America in general. Psycho's shots were so on point, and he was able to get an entry. Usually you'd see an Ash or a Twitch or an IQ maybe get an entry picks, maybe one of those high rate of fire good guns. You don't usually see Glaz push in with no smoke and get a pick.
Right.
Yeah.
We saw, interestingly enough, saw next to no Blackbeard.
Nope.
We saw, I don't believe we saw any Hibana. We saw next to no Twitch. We saw probably more Blitz than we've seen at any point. We saw an awful lot of Ying. I don't actually, off the top of my head, I can't remember a round that did not have Ying in it.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised by how much we've seen Zofia as well. She's been quite prevalent in every single matchup that we've seen so far today. I happen to think that her gun is very quietly becoming a favorite among certain players, especially ones that I've spoken with. And all you really need to do is you can just shoot those 4 concussive grenades right in, just have somebody sprint in and capitalize on it. It's very similar to the way Ying can just flash everybody. You have somebody sprint right in, you have Zofia do the same thing and just throw those concussive grenades in, and there's not much you can do to fight back.
Exactly. Also, Ying's gun, a lot of people, there's been a ton of controversy on Ying in general, because a bunch of people think her gun is underpowered, but then there's a whole group of people who think her gun is overpowered. And her candelas are a huge thing.
The people who think that she's overpowered.
Not overpowered, but if you think about her operator in general, she throws a candela, it spews flashbangs, she doesn't get blind by it, so it's not where she throws it and she has to hide too. She can push in as it's blinding people and getting kills, and her gun has a good amount of bullets. Its recoil is not
over 60 bullets. That's a good amount of bullets.
It's a good amount of bullets. It's like Ella ×2 now. But no, it's good. Her recoil isn't the best, but her gun, some people have used it and say if you can hit headshots, then it's really good.
I mean, I've seen people use her shotgun as well. You just throw a couple candelas, and she becomes an entry fragger. She just she just hops right in, or vaults right in, and is able to get a couple shots with that shotgun, which is 2 to 3 to kill, or even throw a holographic or a reflex onto her T95, jump right in, and I mean when they're completely blind, there's not much they can do to fight back. You can just kind of blind fire quite literally and hope for the best. So Border is map number 2. We have all of Yeah Gaming waiting. We'll just wait for Black Dragons to get in here, and then we'll get underway with our second map. Black Dragons does lead 1-0. If we get an update on that Counter Logic Gaming and Supremacy matchup, we will be more than happy to tell you. We will, of course, warn you ahead of time that there will be spoilers inbound, as long as Fox A doesn't just shout the results out to you and spoil it for everybody. Well,
you said spoiler alert, and then you said it's supposed to be like a...
I said we don't spoil.
Okay. Well...
Was it ironic? Is that what
for this Border game that's coming up,
yes,
it is Black Dragon's pick.
Yes.
But we've seen how Black Dragons was comfortable on Yeah Gaming's pick. Even though it was the pick, this still means they could be comfortable on it.
Right.
But would maybe Yeah Gaming have thought that Border would be their stronger map, and they knew that they would have picked it? So instead they picked something that they would be less strong at to have their
I don't know the theory behind why potentially Yeah Gaming would deliberately pick their weaker map first. If it were anything and they knew they were weak on Consulate and they were strong on Border, I would imagine that a team this well versed would also be strong on Oregon. Oregon is a map that we know Black Dragons is strong on too. We saw Yeah Gaming perform well on Oregon during the qualifiers, so we know that Yeah Gaming can at least beat up its opposition in the Rainbow Six Invitational qualifiers. They should be able to take some of the lessons learned from that matchup or those matchups and be able to translate it to some success against Black Dragons, even though I would probably argue that this is the toughest matchup that Yeah Gaming has had probably since their formation as a team and as a roster.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know about deliberately picking a map to try and say, okay, well, we've got the next two, maybe force it out and catch some momentum. I'm not sure. It's a gamble. I would rather take the maps that I just know I'm better at, period. I would like to try to, if their best map is Border, do Border first, clobber them, get that momentum, see about potentially getting under their skin, and then just go to town. And maybe, who knows, something can completely change on the second matchup if you've managed to get into their head or get under their skin.
All right. Well, with the next match coming up, do you think Ying is going to be as well used as the previous one?
We've seen a number of I guess, like successful Ying plays on Border. It's Glaz who doesn't seem to get that much play on Border. I would argue that because there's very few long lines of sight that you can hold for long periods of time.
Plus there's a ton of close angles.
A lot of close angles. And I mean, yes, you can of course take Glaz's scope off and engage at a shorter range, but most of the time it's just a slightly worse DMR than say Buck or Twitch or Blackbeard, whose DMR is currently a monster. I think a lot of people argue that the reason why we don't see so much Dokkaebi is because she only really has a DMR as a serviceable weapon, but it doesn't really matter. why we don't see Ying or why we don't see Dokkaebi. What matters is border, and that is where we go now. Black Dragons versus Yeah Gaming. This is Black Dragons map, and they currently have the lead 1-0.
I'm not expecting anything too crazy. If anything, I think they would do their normal stuff. Mainly, again, them being scrim partners. And like you said, Ying is going to be heavily used. But unlike you said, Glaz is coming out. So
Psycho has shown that he can make Glaz work anywhere. And I mean, it won't be too much of a surprise. But I don't know how prevalent Glaz would be, because the other border matches we've seen today, we saw a lot of Ying, but we didn't see Glaz.
Yeah. But like you said, yeah, Psycho's proven that he's good at any range with Glaz, so, and maybe we'll see some new long angles that they use. But
so our timer is stopped, so we're just waiting on hearing. There's some last minute changes being made, maybe some delayed entry, and operator swaps going around a castle and a pulse on ventilation workshop, starting downstairs for Yeah Gaming. That is a curious thing, instead of going up to the typical armory lockers. And the timer's back on, so here we go. Round number 1 of what could be our final matchup between these two teams. Two well-oiled Latin American machines right now doing battle. I think Consulate was a lot closer than I think some casual observers would have suggested.
Yeah. I think the reason for taking downstairs is there's a lot more teams that are more comfortable with downstairs rather than upstairs. But it could also be a reason to try and throw off Black Dragons. Again, them being so comfortable with each other, they'd want to potentially do whatever they possibly could to get an edge in the matchup. And they're just doing a straight downstairs hold. They are castling the bathroom. They got their reinforcements, and Pulse is, spending a little leisure time to barricade up Lone Office. So they actually have to go through. And one mirror just being used upstairs.
I like what you touched upon, which was that you might potentially go to a site that is less common to start off with to try and catch them off guard, be it likely in terms of operator usage. We see that on Consulate. Some teams will, anticipate a garage. They will bring a thermite with them and a thatcher. Two operators that don't have as much usage on the second floor of Consulate. And if a team picks the second floor of Consulate, well, now you're running with two operators that have good usage, but they don't really apply to the strat that you might have at that, on that site or that specific time. You could be more comfortable with, say, a Twitch or a Hibana replacing them if you know that you have to go up and take the second floor. So with every site being unlocked, there's a lot of creativity, and you'll talk to teams, they'll tell you that there's a certain amount of, not necessarily mind games, but trying to outstrat each other.
Most definitely. And I'm pretty sure Ash opened up the armory wall, so it's just, straight and quick aggression, making them worry. They're going to have to worry about it. It's something that they have to pay attention to. PZD is also going to play there. It could be a potential pincer once they take upstairs. There's only 2 players, so I assume they just try and stall as much time as they possibly could and then end up falling back. But in this game, anything can happen. And Black Dragons is just kind of getting all the free movement as they can as GCR tries to shoot some shots. But unfortunately, none are going to hit. And Black Dragons is just ascending onto the upstairs as time slowly ticks down.
The smoke goes now from Psycho as they're going to try to pinch in to take care of armory lockers. PZD dumps 2 Candelas and you can hear them go off. But it looks like Yeah Gaming has completely fallen off. They saw the Candelas come out, they saw the smokes come out, and they were gone.
Yep.
They ran right back to site, and you have a perfect image of all 5 defenders just sitting down underneath the site. You've now completely conceded control, though, to Black Dragons at this point.
Yeah, but they did use a lot of utility. All the 2 Candelas, a smoke, but they're all clustered in one area, so if Sledge starts hammering the floor, they might be able to get a pick before they push. 40 seconds, and it doesn't look two-sided at all. They're going to be coming on from the east side and potentially do a bathroom take and just kind of do another pincer. And on Yeah Gaming's part, they didn't really push out anywhere. They have a couple people, one on main stairs, a couple people inside of the bomb, and then they also have Castle in a good spot. Now he's going to use his impact nade to stop the thermite, which is going to jolt the push, and he's going to try and fight Sledge, who's above glass. Is going to push in as his silencer goes. He's going to take down Revolt as Kamikaze takes down FK. He's going to push PZDs from the back. Is going to take down Spawn as GCR kills Psycho, and Yuna is going to shotgun PZD, but GCR is still going to be in the bathroom, and he's going to take 2 as Yuna down Kamikaze earlier in the round, and that's going to be a round for Yeah Gaming.
A triumphant start, and just Ella doing Ella things inside of that bathroom.
Yeah,
just guns them all down, takes out and dispatches the Glaz before finishing off the Sledge and Thermite. Both of them knew where her position was. The Sledge maybe less so, but the Thermite definitely so. Could not simply out-muscle that Ella. And yeah, Gaming manages to take it after a good, strong push from Black Dragons. Actually looked like it might have been BD's round to lose and start things off, continuing that trudge forward to the first victory from Group C.
In a close quarter situation like that, I don't think Ella could have lost it. But, you know, good reactions from GCR in that situation. I was a little confused why the Castle would kind of lose his castle just to stop the thermite charge when he had complete control of bathroom. Again, I mean, in the end, it didn't matter because they won anyway. So my theory seems to be holding up that Yeah Gaming this is their better map, and that's why they pick Consulate first. So.
That could potentially be it. We'll see how it works on as they now go on to attack. Yuna running the thermite an awful lot.
5 seconds left.
Well, I like the Castle pulse play that was being involved too. They did have a last-second swap that was available for them.
Psycho
Coming outside, gets detected, I'm assuming to maybe try to throw people off. Looks for any potential drones, waits to see if somebody will push him from over. Just in the southern spawns, there's nobody really there to answer the call.
Something that's a rough spot to be playing is PZD is playing inside the sandwich area. They dedicated a reinforcement just for him. Now, commonly it's a good spot to play, but I've seen a lot more people learning the sledge nade spot that you can throw from the roof that completely makes this spot void and nades anybody who's there. If he's mobile, then I'm not too worried, but it's just one of those things that you have to kind of take into consideration when you're playing an aggressive spot like that.
So some droning for each other. That did look like Yuna was being able to help GCR get in an entry inside of office. They're stacked up on East Balcony trying to contest. Much more standard to see in Armory Lockers hold. They've got Kamikaze playing that long eastern angle of Amira and blown out the left of it so he can quickly peek if he needs to. On land, being able to quick peek feels so much different than being able to do it online. Or so I've never actually played on land for this game because I am nowhere near good enough. But I know that you, having played on land, could very likely contest. And so, of course, all the players say as well. Likely thinking that there's somebody behind that mirror, whether he's been droned out or not. GCR gets a couple shots in on the side of the mirror, but smartly the Jaeger doesn't bother to peek. They'll blow open the office wall and get control just outside of B. There's nobody in Fountain, we can see this, so there's no real worry about having to try and take Fountain itself. The closest would be WAG and PZD, but complete Western control right now is in favor of Black Dragons.
Yeah, Gaming's taken their time, and they have everything open, but I wonder if they're going to try and contest Julio and Psycho, who are downstairs with the C4s, who can potentially stop it. PZD is going to get taken down by GCR, though, and again, the C4s are below. If they can be handled, then there's no problem. But with the time left, they're going to have to make something happen quick, or else the C4s are going to completely deny all of their plant area.
So they're just sitting and waiting. They have somewhat control of B now. The smoke is going to be the big question mark. This is one of the reasons why that Mira is so successful. You can control so many angles with it. Not only do you have control of that entire corridor, but you also have the ability to stop a push inside of B. GCR's second kill now as Psycho gets eliminated.
Wow.
He has taken out 2. The C4 from Julio gets chucked, but there's no target to be found. Kamikaze shots rattled just around the side of the Mira as a smoke gets hucked over top of the B-bomb by WAG, but there's nobody in its range. Diffuser, though, goes down quite successfully. Now WAG is going to sustain some damage and will force the rest of his team to have to collapse on the site. It's difficult for a retake, especially when all 5 attackers are still alive. Julio outside of main hallway will get shredded. He gets a kill before he's rewarded by being taken down by a big double from Spawns. WAG, though, working away and diffusing. They don't know. He'll get off it. as his teammates mark, using those Valkyrie cams, will go for the defuse again, but Revolts is there to clean up, and yeah, Gaming up 2-0 now,
Yeah.
proving that they can do just as well on attack and defense.
Do you think if he would have stuck that defuse the first time, he could have potentially got it? Because nobody moved.
Nobody did move, but I figure when they heard nothing for a second or two, they probably would have moved at that point. And there was still some nimble operators left to be able to get there and close that gap very quickly.
Ninja defuse. There's not that many in this game, so it would be interesting to be at the Invitational and have a Ninja defuse happen. But yeah, Gaming going to be in the lead 0-2, showing that they're stronger on this map. And Psycho's been pulling out the glass a lot, but he hasn't had the success that he had on the previous map. Now, again, like Intero was saying, that there's not that much mobility in areas for glass to play, but I'm wondering if maybe he can pull something out that he hasn't seen yet.
A lot of this, too, though, has to go to GCR. Yes, we are looking right now. He does have 5 frags. Usually your team does well when somebody in 2 rounds has 5 kills. Usually, I mean, if only 5 kills your team has, your chances are you're probably doing poorly at that point. But he has been taking initiative and has been able to, almost on his own, be able to capitalize on the opportunities that he's seen. Yes, it has been a team effort. Yes, he did get droned in. But strong play by him is a crucial, I guess, point for his team, and it is why they are playing so well. You imagine that when you see somebody start off this strong and they cool off, it used to become a little problematic after that point. Yeah, Gaming. Yeah, going. How you going? Yeah, Gaming on defense now. You see they'll just wait. GCR and PZD have been the ones playing the Ellas. So FK very smartly off of Ella, running with the Jaeger instead. So we'll be running with a roam operator too, though. I mean, this is a site where we've seen Bandits, we've seen Jaegers, and we've even seen some Ellas play pretty close to site on border.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where roaming works, but if you think about it, the only beneficial roam would be if you have a C4 from below, because East Stairs is usually watched by someone and a Claymore, or 2 Claymores, or a drone. It's the only potential opportunity to get a flank, so of course it's going to have some resources put into it. Main stairs, usually attackers aren't pushed up enough to have control of main stairs, so this is the only other way of rotation up and down, unless you drop from a hatch. But having an Ella downstairs just wouldn't benefit anybody, because you'd just be chucking Ella charges at the roof.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, GCR is a big reason on why they're doing well. Of course, he has the team play too, but he himself has been able to get a pick the 2 rounds that have happened so far. So
the very first round, it was just him alone in the washroom, just by the site itself, able to take down 3 with very little assistance from the rest of his team.
And the round before, he was the Ash and got the first opening pick into site.
So with them charging inside of monitors, or security rather, just on the western balcony, an armory push rather than Black Dragons deciding to go for what we've seen a lot of recently, which are office pushes. The smokes will mean that Psycho can slowly creep his way up. He sees the Valkyrie, can't finish her off. He'll get blown sky high. That's 2 C4s in a row before Yuna is traded off by Kamikaze and PZD. That suppressed T95, eliminating Revolts. But FK1 catches Kamikaze, leaving just 2 members of Black Dragons, and amidst the chaos and the flashes of the Candelas, PZD is able to get 1 on the spawns, leaving us now at 2v2. And would you look at that, it's the 2 roamers off-site who are the ones that are left.
Well, it's still an even man count. I mean, PZD does have a little less HP, but Bomb is simply going down. Both players are at the beepers as Jaeger runs in through the beepers door, and Julio is going to take him out, but he does get traded down to 1 HP. So this is so winnable for GCR, especially the way he's been playing. He spots the diffuser, not many places he shot, so they know where he's going to be coming from. He's being spotted on the drone too, so he doesn't have that much. He just has to have the raw pure skill, and he's going to come into a crossfire of PZD, and that's going to be the round in favor of Black Dragon.
The wonderful sound of that suppressed T95. Black Dragons finally gets there first, and it comes on attack.
I wonder why he uses a suppressor.
I would imagine. I mean, a lot of people will argue
when he pushes through.
If you you think about it. If you're completely blind and there's tons of smoke and there's chaos, which is what Ying is able to create. If you have a suppressed weapon, it's much more difficult to determine the location. It reduces the ability to see them. It reduces the sound, of course. Also reduces the damage. But if you're usually that close range, a suppressor's not necessarily totally vital. Or a suppressor's not necessarily
Defenders
totally
protect your
a
bombs from being
detrimental to the
defused
team.
by attackers.
Of course.
Customs is where Black Dragons is now going to go on defense. A site that we have seen an increased amount of play over the last couple months, mentioned in our very first broadcast, popularized largely by the successful play of Penta on this site. Some teams prefer to run it in, I guess, instead of Workshop.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
It's one of those sites where it's not something you'd want to pull out every round, but it's definitely something you can come with and have in your back pocket. Now, strats like that tend to usually win if a team isn't
10 seconds left.
expecting it, especially in customs. It's one of the more solid sites that you kind of have as a third bomb site, but it relies a lot on the top play. And if Yeah Gaming knows how to counter it, which they won their attack round, so potentially they could. But if Yeah Gaming knows how to attack the top floor, which it seemed like they did on their attack round with the Pincer and Yings, I'd assume they'd be able to get the top floor and get this last one.
This might be the very first time we've seen Hibana, speaking of which. Take a look at this, the way that the site's going to work. You've got a Thermite and you've got a Hibana. Apply to me your Hibana and Thermite. You're probably going to use the Thermite for the bathroom, to get that bathroom wall, or just outside of the office downstairs. What is your Hibana for? Are you just using her for hatches? How do you foresee them using this Hibana, as neither of these teams seem very comfortable running?
I think they assumed that they would be playing inside of servers. So, of course, Thermite would be for the bathroom, but I know teams prefer to use the Hibana for upstairs. Outside of Dome, you can shoot a Hibana charge on the Dome archives wall and have a sight hole that looks all the way through into Armory. And rather than pushing in and risking your life, you just have someone sit back and hold an angle, and you have all the vision. As for, I doubt they're going to use all their charges, but Spawns is going to take down Kamikaze, so that's the Thatcher getting a kill. And Bandit's down, so now they don't really have anything to stop the Thermite and Hibanas.
That is a long-range shot. So Thermite being used on the wall just inside of Customs, and then Spawns using that ACOG to good use, being able to see that long angle. But 2 kills in a row make that 3 for Black Dragons, as PZD and Psycho are going to ensure that even though got a good first pick, and that's it. Psycho sees the Thermite of Yuna pop up, able to light him up, looking to see if there's a Claymore there, and there's nobody around. It's just the Hibana and the Thermite left in a 2v4. Thermite gets down, and now the Hibana comes up potentially for a trade. The beams of a Claymore set up around the corner, meaning that they will need to be a bit more cautious, but it gets shot in the background. And they will all drop. Revolt manages to dispatch Julio as one starts to work on the diffuser very smartly, but PZD tears through Revolts, and that's Black Dragons equaling things. It's now 2 apiece.
Yep, good team play on their part. They didn't have to over-aggressive. Psycho got the first... They got the 3-piece all together, and they didn't push out immediately. They waited. Julio made that aggressive play to jump over, but his team was there to back it up. And again, they got the round.
So we're just getting a very quick pause. It'll come back to us for just a moment here, it does appear.
It looks like they're going to be having a kind of team pause. So until then,
let's talk about it. So we saw 2 first rounds for go up 2-0.
So now it's 2-2 like the previous map.
You were saying that you thought that looked more comfortable on this map, and we have just as close of a score as we did the entire time with Consulate now that we've seen it shake out. So it could have just been a very good early start from It could have potentially been Black Dragons needing some time to be able to find their footing. But both of the 2 rounds that we just saw Black Dragons won looked decisive. It didn't really look like there was too much, I guess, in the way of uncertainty. A little bit more decisive than it looked for the first 2 rounds for So did obviously, had no problem winning round 1 and 2. But for me, I'm now starting to think Black Dragons is warming up. Maybe in a situation where they found their footing, they find their groove, and they could continue to power forward.
Okay. I mean, for sure, they have made the rounds equal. So they're showing adaptation, but you got to think that Gaming attacked the servers first, and then they defended upstairs.
Right.
So they won't be able to, they wouldn't be attacking the same bomb site and defending the same bomb site, you know, because potentially, since, you know, they would be switching, maybe they're stronger on holding armory, maybe they're stronger at attacking servers. So now that it's coming up, if Black Dragons is still able to win as decisively, then you might be right. But we're gonna get back into the game now. The pause has been overed.
The timeout is over.
Timeout is over.
Tactical time.
And Julio on the blitz.
So we originally said that Blitz doesn't see a ton of play on this map because it's a highly destructible map. There's tons of ways to be able to potentially pinch a blitz. I'm very eager to see how Julio employs him against a team such as Yeah. You have to imagine that with Yeah running the blitz as much as they had in the past, probably anticipating it. If you do any counter-stratting of Black Dragons, you know they're going to be bringing a blitz a lot of the time, maybe a lot more than you'd expect. So you have to be ready for that, and preparation is going to be I guess the biggest way of being able to counter-strat.
If it was an upstairs hold, I don't believe Julio would be able to play blitz. Not because he clearly he's shown that he's able to play it wherever, but just because the amount of crossfires there are for upstairs, I doubt he would be able to get away with something like that. But since it's downstairs, it's a lot more close quarters, and I'd assume he comes in and pushes through the bathroom, and maybe just pushes all the way through as his team go for a plant, which would make sense.
And that could potentially work, as long as you can keep the blitz to confined quarters and not have to worry about being attacked from multiple directions, which you never really want to engage a shield operator head-on at any point, because most of the times it's a pretty losing prospect. So,
especially blitz, since he has the flashbang for super close, it's deadly. Back a couple of seasons ago, Montank potentially you could win, but now that blitz is able to just blind as soon as you come next to him, it's highly unlikely.
Right, and now he's being used upstairs as a roam clear, which is what you'd said on Consulate he's very proficient at, good at being able to clear people out, and no surprise that that's where they're using him for now. He does know that there's one up there. It is the Jaeger of FK, who is being shot at after being blinded just inside of that armory desk room, the small room just next to where the bomb site would be if they were defending up top.
Yeah. Julio just saw his feet and started shooting him off one piggy at a time. But, you know, a little damage done, and Julio had some damage done back, so they haven't fallen back. They're still holding the same amount of everything, but PZD is going to get a nice kill onto Unit, but it's going to get traded as Revolt takes down PZD. That's the mirror down. As long as the mirrors are down, it's nothing lost, as Psycho shoots FK in the head, and GCR is going to trade him, and it's going to be an even man kill. Honestly, it's good trades all around. GCR is going to jump out and come back to site as Julio rushes through site. So good call on GCR, or he would have gotten blinded. And
that was a great rotate too. There was no attacker in that vicinity to be able to punish the Ela as she sprinted back into what would be site downstairs. Just getting close to the end of round number 5, all tied up at 2 apiece. And some work being done from the Ash above to put pressure on the defenders and make sure that they aren't in a position to just sit and be exposed. The Ela of GCR gets spotted for a second and then finished off, meaning that you're now relying heavily on your Valkyrie and your Pulse on site to be able to contend with the rush that's going to come. The Miro will fall just inside of bomb site B, and the Ash just waits. Though, Spawns runs out and capitalizes on the blitz. Revolts takes out Wag, leaving Kamikaze and Revolts, and what a double from Kamikaze as he manages to snatch that round for his team in the dying seconds, and Black Dragons, for the first time on Border, takes the lead.
Beautiful kill, beautiful comms. You could see the point where instead of going for the plant, they decided to just go for the kills. Because they knew where the Pulse were, they knew where the Valk was. Now, Julio got ran out on, so of course they got spotted. So as soon as that split second happened, everyone just immediately jumped down to the floor. Kamikaze did a great kill onto Valkyrie, and then, you know, traded his 2 teammates that unfortunately died, but they still won the round. So in the end, Black Dragons is now in the lead, 3-2. So unfortunately, my theory is no longer right. But
you could, I mean, that's one of the best parts about being a caster, and one of the reasons why I try not to make predictions is because if you make those predictions and they're wrong, then they're wrong. But if you make that prediction and wear a Black Dragons jersey doing it, then I'm the team that you were cheering against loses.
I mean, I think my prediction is not right because PZD is playing very well right now, and he's honestly he's performing. Now we were talking about how GCR is doing well on the I guess, you know, entry aggressive roamer, but PZD is showing him just the same, that hey, just like last map, hey, I'm here and I can do yours better.
Good point. So PZD now working on defense. GCR has been a strong point, but has cooled off as well. He was able to almost single-handedly win the first 2 rounds for his team. The rest of his team is going to have to pick up the pace, because if Black Dragons wins here, it means that we go to match point, and with Black Dragons being on match point, they'd be 1 round away from putting away Yeah Gaming. We've seen a slew of 2-0s on this channel today. The only match that has gone past the second map so far was EG versus 1UP. So we'll see if Yeah Gaming can bring us to Oregon.
Now, in case anybody is wondering if Black Dragons wins here, no, Yeah Gaming isn't eliminated. They do have another chance in the losers bracket tomorrow to redeem their spot and come back and maybe have a rematch against Black Dragons. Who knows?
That's one of the best parts about this losers bracket format, or the consolation bracket, the elimination bracket, if you don't want to call people losers, is that teams can potentially play each other again, which would set up a game of expectations and be much more exciting for all of us. So
think about it, because these teams were scrim partners, and now they're playing, and then if they have to rematch, they have to play completely new things. I'm more theory crafting, but yeah, it would be a nice match to see. Again, we're coming into the 6th round, and it's so evenly tight. But just like in the last match, Black Dragons pulled ahead at this exact point. So will we see them do reciprocate the events now, as half of the time has already gone by, and yeah, still hasn't done much other than get rid of some mirrors.
And the smoke of WAG just asleep at the wheel allows FK to push up and get that Mira as the drone just runs its way in. Psycho eliminates spawns before coming back inside. Will be detected just for a moment. That will at least know that his location being somewhat downstairs, gotten back to site. Nitro Cell goes up, but there's no one. And no attacker will take any damage. Did get shot, which happens a lot on land.
Now, Black Dragons looks to be in favor of this round, because Yeah Gaming 50 seconds on the clock, and they still haven't got any control of downstairs, as Psycho has 1 HP, but he won the trade onto Revolt, who's going down, and that's the Hibana. They opened up the wall already, so not much lost, but time is still ticking down. They know someone's downstairs, and FK is going to get him down. So that's 1 C4 off the board, but Mira is still down there, and I believe Pulse is also down there too. So with time dwindling down, Yuna's going to try and go for a plant. The Kamikaze comes up the main stairs. PZD kills Yuna, who's the planter, so bombs down, but GCR is going to trade onto Kamikaze, who did come up the main stairs. Oh, and FK is going to come down to the main hall and take down WAG, but Mira is going to kill GCR. That's a beautiful angle from Julio, as FK is going to run into sight and unsuspectingly get shot in the side of the head by PZD. And that's what we said. Black Dragons successfully breaking apart of this back and forth.
Took them a little time to find their footing, but they definitely do look like they are the team deserving of being in the lead right now. They knew that Julio was downstairs, so he was trying to be wary of that hatch as he sprinted through, but then had the Ella PZD situated just inside of Armory that wasn't necessarily expecting the Ella to be there. Usually it's the other way around. Usually you've got your Mira on site and your Ella's the one downstairs. Not a lot of great usage of the C4s there. An opportunity to just shoot it worked out for Yeah Gaming. But now they are facing match point. This is also technically series point as well, as Black Dragons prevailed on Consulate by a score of 5-3. It is now currently 4-2. They could put it away in the next couple minutes.
PZD and GCR both top fragging, but PZD has 10 kills. He's hitting double digits, 4-2. He's doing really well. That's all I'm going to say. He's doing really well for his team. He's getting opening picks. He's coming in clutch in the parts that he needs them. And like you said, GCR was shining in the first 2 rounds, but now he's his flame's kind of burnt out. Hopefully, if they want a chance in this match point, he's going to have to come alive, or someone in the team is going to have to take the torch. But round 7, Blitz is coming out. Julio always consistent on that. PZD is back on the Ying. So it looks like it's going to be another in-your-face kind of play from Black Dragons.
GCR got 5 kills in the first 2 rounds, has had 2 kills so far in the next 5. So 5 and 2, and then 2 and 5. Usually you don't want those numbers to be reversed in that way. And a good round with a good play from PZD has been a mixture of both stat padding as well as impact frags, coming up clutch when need be. I mean, when you're just running around killing things on defense, sometimes it's hard for us to manually track how many of those are exact impact frags. But his team has definitely benefited from his play today, and all of Black Dragons as a whole have shown up. So we are now potentially 2 minutes away from moving them on to the winner's bracket.
Yeah, speaking about impact frags, now the rest of the team, you could say, isn't performing as well as PZD is, but Julio is absolutely, every kill he's gotten has been an impact. Now, no, he's not at the top of the leaderboard. He's not out here slaying everyone. But the kill last round with the mirror through the hatch, his Hibana pushes, it's always been a frag that was worth it. So great play from him, you know, keeping up the...
A very smart player is the other thing I would say is that I know it's almost a joke when people call players cerebral, but I think that particularly applies for Julio and the way that he plays. Yes, he gets a ton of impact frags and can really help lead that team when it needs the guidance. I like the way that all of them have played so far. They're stacking up now on a south push in through Armory. They managed to open up that wall, and last time this happened, well, it worked. Black Dragons was able to get their very first win on attack, doing the exact same strategy we saw. You have Glaz and Ying cover, and then the Blitz just comes right in and pushes everybody away. What a shot from Psycho as he takes the head off of Spawns, and FK answers back with 2 of his own to put us at a 3v3. And over a minute left, you have silenced that Glaz and that Ying as Kamikaze now tries to avenge his teammate, lights up FK1, but can't seal the deal. Julio comes in, eliminates GCR, knows that there's just a tiny bit left of that Jaeger, and has spotted Revolts. FK gets his 3rd kill. He's lying down behind half wall, and Julio has to expose his back, but it's traded off. Now it's all up to Wag and Revolts. The smoke versus the Hibana, concussed by beepers, and that shotgun of the smoke is so deadly at that close range. Will Black Dragons be able to seal this one out? Wag droning for himself with just under 20 seconds left to go. Pre-fires around the corner, sees the smoke, but they'll ring around the Rosie, and a shotgun blast to the chest from Revolts will keep Yeah Gaming fighting. Wag goes down, and this game is still very much alive.
It was a great push. I thought it was over when Julio pushed in with the aggressive blitz play, but unfortunately for him, unfortunately for the other team, they put themselves in such a kind of crossfire situation where he had to turn his back to one of them if he wanted to get a kill and help his team. As he was being kind of clustered, the rest of the team was just being absolutely obliterated by FK. I believe he got a 3K. Really well played from him. You know, he's been doing well. He hasn't shown up, but he definitely he's like telling GCR like, hey, come on, man, you need to start waking up like I am.
Oh. So we are still on match point. Black Dragons will go to defense, and they have only lost defense once so far in the ensuing early matchups. On customs, they were successful the last time they went here. And I think that speaks to the fact that we saw a strategy that came in through just to the right of the actual metal detectors themselves. Came in through that open doorway, blew the wall open with a thermite charge, and then was able to, were unable rather to hold down that site, and then Black Dragons just pounced. And they stood no chance whatsoever. We'll see if a different strategy will emerge from Yeah Gaming this time, as they're bringing basically the same thing this time around in their lineup.
Something Yeah Gaming didn't do in the previous customs attack that they had to do is they didn't really touch upstairs that much. They had one person kind of flank watching, but Julio was able to eliminate him. And it doesn't seem like a lot, but this basic take that they're taking, opening up the customs wall, it won't work if they have people above, because just like we saw in the previous time, Julio jumped over the railing and he didn't really get a kill, but imagine that again. You know, if he gets another chance, he might be able to win them the round. And there was such a monsoon of Black Dragons players. there to stop the plant. So yeah, they got it down, but for what?
In 4v1, and you'd seen that they were able to start defusing. Julio jumped over the ledge, mainly as a distraction on who I believe was Revolts at the time, the Hibana, and then the rest of them just swarmed her, as you said, a monsoon,
yeah,
so to speak. But a minute now exhausted into this round. Great Valkyrie cams trying to see exactly where Yak Gaming is. Knows that there's one downstairs just by customs. PZD gonna go for the run. Sees one repelling in and lights him up, and down goes Faker. And that is PZD stat padding. That is an impact frag right now, able to push his already impressive tally on that scoreboard farther north.
Well, there you go. Just like we talked about, like their aggressive upstairs hold is so strong that if they don't contest it at all, it's not going to be worth anything. Revolts is going to get a kill into Kamikaze as bomb has been planted down, though. Will they be able to reciprocate the previous round as Psycho's going to run outside, unfortunately not see anyone, as Black Dragons is going to get close to the diffuser. A smoke and possibly a defuse might come out, but time is slowly ticking down and nobody's died yet. Yeah, Gaming in great spots to contest it, but PZD is going to come from outside and jump over to get GCR and spawns as Eunice Claymore is going to pick up Psycho, and he is going to trade onto PZD, putting it in a 2v2. No one is on the diffuser yet. Diego, Julio, and Wag going to push in and kill Yuna, as Wag is going to support Julio defusing, but Revolt is in a 1v2 situation. He kills Wag, and he has to push, but Julio will get the defuse. Unfortunately, there's a metal desk in front of him, so it was a valiant effort, but Black Dragons is going to come up on top, and that is going to be...
Just didn't have the defuse in time. So it didn't have the defuse in time, so overtime is where we are headed, and Black Dragons will be on defense to start off with. And this has been back and forth, just like we saw with Consulate. They have not been able to shake each other. It did look like Black Dragons was going to be able to close it out, but they lacked the wherewithal to do so. The first vigil that we're going to see from Black Dragons looks like it might be switched off. Psycho's going to stay with it. Ventilation room and workshop, which is where Yeah Gaming started to start off this match, and now Black Dragons is going to go for their first defense. So, all tied up. The way that overtime works, if you are new to our broadcast, is there are 3 rounds. You need to win 2 of them. There are no ties, there are no draws, there is no win by 2. It is not sudden death. If either team are able to win 2 of the next 3, then they will go on. Black Dragons, if they lose this, we will go to map number 3, which will be Oregon.
The only thing that I believe is sudden death in this game is if someone comes up against PZD, because he's been playing out of his mind. Like we just saw, 13 frags on him. He was able to make insane plays. Unfortunately, they didn't have enough time, but he was able to jump over, get 2 kills. He did get traded, but he made an impact for his team, tried his best. Unfortunately, there was no time. But, you know, hopefully in this overtime, they're going to be able to come back, and maybe PZD will make some more impactful frags. Maybe GCR will step up. Who knows? But in this round 1 of overtime, it's going to be a basic round, nothing crazy. Ying is going to see play. A Vigil is also going to be brought out onto the board. And looks like it's going to be a standard take.
The Vigil is what I'm most curious to see how it gets used. They, on maps that, oh my, a G36 iron sight is not something that, and breach charges on Ashe, I would imagine that that was probably an accident. A G36 with iron sights and breaching charges on Ashe is not really something you see every day, but that is all right. Maybe just poor timing on their part, though FK already gets severely hurt upstairs, loses all but 25 of his health, playing just outside of the office, and it was Psycho who he confronted. That's the Vigil, who's now creeping up to east stairs, maybe to see if there's somebody waiting for him there. It's FK holding the flank watch. He'll send a drone out instead to see if somebody's there, but that won't really help, given Vigil's ability to cloak himself. You do see that the Hibana of Revolts is inside and taken over CCTV, and now FK crouching his way up. The Vigil is looking a separate way, so Psycho is not aligned with the position that Ashe is going to be able to push in with as the first round of Candelas go off.
Time is slowly ticking down, and the bomb is still below. They haven't really pushed in yet. Psycho made a good play by stalling so much time only a minute and 15 seconds on the clock. FK is also down to super low HP, and they haven't even gotten full control of upstairs yet. They're going to have to push and meet with PZD's Ella and Kamikaze's Bandit. So if they want to win, they're going to have to take this top floor. They can't just push. And with the low HP on their entry fragger, it's all going to come down to spawn, and if his Yings will make the cut and blind everyone.
That sounds like all of the Candelas are gone. A quick peek around the corner from Kamikaze. Will Fell revolts. That's the first one down, but GCR is there to quite literally take that one back. A 1-for-1 trade. PZD eliminates GCR as he gets taken down by Spawn. So back and forth we go into a 3v3, but WAG will give them a bit of breathing room as Julio adds as Spawns goes down, leaving just Yuna as the sole member of Yeah. The Thermite with 30 seconds to go inside of security upstairs. Has the open hatch, but needs to somehow get down. He'll find Julio and finish him off, but there's still 2 left. There's a smoke and a vigil. Psycho, just playing by the bomb, has very little health, while WAG watches the main door. He'll smoke out the Thermite, and Yuna breathing it in, tries to flee from the gas, but cannot do it as WAG able to finish him off with that SMG-11, and once again for the 3rd time tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, depending on where you're watching, Black Dragons goes to match point on Border.
Black Dragons is playing so well. They're not overextending. They're not staying too long. They're doing exactly what they need. They stall a bit of time, and then they leave. Psycho made his presence known in Dome, jumped over the railing, got back into sight. It took them an extra couple of seconds, then they had to push. Both PZD and Kamikaze upstairs did exactly what they needed to do. They got a 1-for-1 trade. They didn't even have to do that. They could have just they could have just wasted time and died. They did their job. Julio made an important decision, again, impact fragger, came up the main stairs and killed them as they weren't expecting it. Now, like, you can't just have a team that happens like that. That is good coordination, good communication, and just practice.
So we have a strategy that worked very well for Yeah the first time, which is the joint Pulse Castle combo that they had downstairs. And I mean, it was really GCR who helped that round, getting those 3 Herculean kills inside of the bathroom to thwart the push that was happening from the attackers. They'll do some final touch-ups on site. And like I said, once again, match point for Black Dragons. 2 times they had every opportunity to put it away, could not capitalize. They will have one more chance now before they tie it up.
Again, Julio back on the blitz, which he's proven and we've seen to have been such a good pick, especially for roam clearing. Now, the last round where they were defending downstairs, he was able to single-handedly take over Armory while getting a kill and pushing everyone back. Now, if that's not talented, like, you can dish shields as much as you want and say shields are overpowered, whatever you want to do, but you can't just be good with a shield, as good as he is. Now, a couple seconds down on the clock as Yeah Gaming is going to be sitting cozy, and Black Dragons is starting to make their sprint in. And Kamikaze, they are opening up that Armory side, which they tend to do. They have PZD kind of do a pincer as Julio makes sure that he can safely come in through the other side. But GCR's Ella and FK1's Jaeger is going to be there to stop them. There is going to be a mirror to see if Psycho comes in from anywhere, or PZD comes in with the charges, but they're just waiting for the team to drone in and make the call to push in.
Now, one thing that Julio's blitz does is he puts the defenders in a position where they almost have to exclusively double up on him because you can't take the blitz alone. He puts the defenders in situations where there's really very little winning unless they commit extra utility to it. Psycho looks like he'll be dispatched via C4 from Spawns, tossed up to the ceiling of Workshop, and FK eliminating PZD means an advantage of 2 in favor of Yeah Gaming. It's Julio on the hunt right now, but doesn't bother to check half wall, and GCR eliminates him, leaving just 2 members of Black Dragons against 5, or rather 1 member against 5. Kamikaze will need the very easy clutch ace as he's just passing by Sandwich in lockers. GCR peaks, and Yeah Gaming will once again equalize. That's 3 opportunities squandered from Black Dragons to put this away and send Yeah Gaming into the losers bracket.
when Yeah Gaming's put in a position where they could potentially lose, they really, with their backs against the wall, they're really able to accomplish a lot. FK and GCR really stepped up that round. FK got 2 beautiful kills and a nice bait for a GCR who was able to shoot Julio in the back, and then GCR was able to pick up the final kill. Now, their teamwork and synergy is working really well, especially when their back's against the wall. But now that it's all tied up, usually Black Dragons gets the advantage. Do you think that will happen again?
Defenders, protect your bombs
I
from being defused by attackers.
would not be too surprised to see us now going to a 3rd map. I would not be shocked with the way that this has gone. This, to me, this is Yeah Gaming's map to lose now. It's their pick. Or sorry, it's Black Dragon's pick, but you said they looked more comfortable on it. I think with how evenly matched these two teams have looked, every stride that Black Dragons has taken has been matched in just as much, with just as much pace and gusto from Yeah Gaming. That would, to me, mean that both these teams were comfortable with the picks. They both could have been very happy with the way that these map bans worked and shown us an even contest between the two. So for me, this is Yeah Gaming's round to lose. It is, don't really know what's going on there. Psycho just experimenting at the moment, trying to figure out where exactly he wants to put that final Valkyrie cam. And I don't know if the C4 was being done to try and test if that door would actually stop him or not.
I think Yeah Gaming's trying to switch something up because now Yuna is taking out the Blitz, and we've talked about how he is a good Blitz player, but he hasn't played it at all since this round. And now that he's pulled it out, maybe he'll be able to play it as well as Julio's been playing, or maybe it'll just be Yaz Gaming round to lose.
I'm curious to see how this works out. GCR running the Ash instead of FK, meaning that there is no Iron Sights G36 with breaching charges like we saw last round, much to the amusement and shock of all of us. Yuna already storming inside. They have taken complete control of lobby and now heading up to East Stairs. The sights being on the 2nd floor means that not usually going to have a roamer lurking down there. Amira just on security, looking all the way towards East Stairs with the wall blown open next to it. Similar strategy that Black Dragons had before. Means that they have a lot of control, not just over the actual area inside of security, but also into office. If they do thermite that wall or hit onto that wall, there will be an angle for the defenders to be able to either throw smoke canisters or get a couple shots off through that open laneway.
And this isn't looking bright for Yeah Gaming, especially the way they've been playing inside of Dome, Psycho, PZD. But as I say that, GCR gets an aggressive kill onto PZD as PZD peeks his Ash hole that he opened, getting the man advantage for Yeah Gaming. And that's the Ela down. As long as her traps are down, it's not too much. Psycho's in a good position to challenge FK, who is unsuspecting of him. And Yeah Gaming is going to get a drone through, but it might have gotten shot. I don't know if they saw Valkyrie. FK is going to get another kill onto Julio, and Psycho is going to trade him out. Again, Mira, nothing to Dras, but GCR playing amazing, getting Kamikaze inside of the CCTV area. That is the full control as Yuna is going to be walking down the main hall. Psycho is going to be in a position that's super tight, but GCR again getting another kill into Psycho as it is a wag in a 1v3, but Yuna is going to be walking through. He's going to blind him but get down, but Spawns is going to take him, giving the round to Yeah Gaming. So that's map 2 on Yeah Gaming.
Map 2 in the books. Squandered opportunities from Black Dragons, I think, is going to be the story of this. For me, there's no reason why Black Dragons shouldn't have been able to put this away. Yeah, Gaming was able to bounce back effectively, and because of that, we now have a 3rd map between the two going to Oregon, which is going to be insane with the way that these two have been playing. These two teams so evenly matched. Even Consulate, very, very close. It was a 5-3 and now a tense 6-5 victory on behalf of Yeah Gaming. So they lost their own maps, but they won the opposite maps, leading us to a tiebreaker as neutral ground as you can get on one of the most neutral and balanced maps of them all.
Yep, honestly, it just got into a rut of Black Dragons wasn't switching anything up, and in the last round, the last couple of rounds, you were able to see Yeah Gaming switching stuff up, bringing the blitz, bringing more aggressive Ying play, and it just looked like they were ready to take that round, and Black Dragons, like you said, was kind of dangling it in front of them. Like,
right.
You want to work, you got to work for it.
3 chances Black Dragons had, 3 full chances to put it away. Very similar to how Black Dragons was up 4-0 over Ensign, yet still lost by a score of 6-4 in Sao Paulo. So some fixes they may need in order to ensure that they go the full distance, because you really shouldn't be able to squander that kind of lead. So with Oregon ready, I don't know if the teams are going to need a bathroom break or if we're just going to trudge along. This will be our third map that we see. I know that's a bit confusing. So this is the second time that we are going to see a series need a third map so far today. Earlier on, it was 1UP versus Evil Geniuses. Spoilers, Evil Geniuses won that one 2-1 after it looked like 1UP might have actually won that at 2-0.
Yep. But as we're almost, we could get ready into this third map. Black Dragons is a super strong team, but coming off of this win, I think momentum might push Yeah Gaming to play and surpass their abilities from the previous 2 matches.
I would imagine so. I mean, right now we are looking at Black Dragons won 5 in the first matchup and won 5 that time. They have 10 rounds. Yeah Gaming has 9. So technically, in terms of sheer numbers, Black Dragons is still ahead. But I think what's more important is you staved off defeat.
Yep.
A number of times. That is a huge boost for your confidence. It can give you momentum and can play a pivotal role when you head to your next matchup. I mean, hey, even being able to clutch 1 round out and steal a round that you should have lost when you were on the ropes can make the difference in the future rounds in that match itself. Just 1 round. But being able to win an entire match when I think you would probably wager that Black Dragons should have had that one, that means that Yeah Gaming has been more than impressive, and I would imagine that they are probably in a position to ride that high into Oregon, a map that suits both of their playstyles very, very well.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be super excited and exhausted after the win. You saw in the player cam, their hands were up, they were hugging each other. They worked for it. So I think with level heads like that, and especially the way GCR lit up at the end of that match, he was kind of iffy in the middle, but he got back into the game. If they continue to keep playing like that and feeding GCR good plays, then I think Yeah Gaming is going to play as well as they did, if not better.
He showed up at the start, cooled off, and then showed up when it mattered the most, when his team was facing elimination. And for now, it means that Yeah Gaming won't have to worry about potentially going to the losers bracket, but still, nothing is certain. You are now at essentially a glorified coin toss on a map that you're going to see a lot of Ying, you're going to see a lot of Glaz. I'd imagine you're going to see an awful lot of Blitz, especially in the laundry room downstairs. Both teams have been very great with their accuracy on the C4s. Marksman with those explosives, I guess you could say. I wonder if we're going to see potentially a rear stage or tower hold, potentially even a kitchen hold, depending on the way these teams want to play. I personally, from a spectator standpoint, I'd like to.
It would be something new, something fresh, something that I wonder if Yeah Gaming continues. Is we saw that at the last round, I think their team kind of went all out. I think they were trying to conserve a little bit of play, and they didn't want to show much. But in the last round, they brought out the Blitz, they brought out Ying, and they kind of worked it together. So I wonder if now that that's out, they're kind of going to go all in and leave everything on the line in this game.
Oregon is map number 3 by virtue of a coin toss. Black Dragons will defend first, and immediately the very first operator that we saw locked in was Blitz by Yuna. So Yeah Gaming will start on attack, and for Black Dragons going on defense, downstairs is the play, running a very interesting Legion Vigil Ella combo, meaning that with that mirror in the smoke, there will be no operator to stop a potential Hibana from taking out that first mirror that you're going to see under that main hatch inside of the main lobby.
Yuna's making a statement here saying, "Stop bullying us, Julio," and he's trying to do the same. And
why you bully me?
It looks like Yeah Gaming, it's exactly what they need, because their entry potential isn't as good as their hold potential. Now, GCR has been playing out of his mind as an entry fragger, and he's been being put in these situations. But for a certain period of time, Black Dragons was able to suppress him. And when they were, it was usually left to FK or spawns to kind of make a play. And sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't. But they really need a full circle to make it work. If they don't, then, you know, I guess Yuna now substituting what he was playing before for Blitz, he'll be able to push through and have GCR kind of as the second entry and help. So, and also Elysian and Vigil being pulled out, which is not something you usually see, but again, Black Dragons and Latin America in general being innovators in the scene. And I could see it going their way. I could see it working. Maybe a Vigil Roam.
The attacker's bomb
What do you think?
diffuser has been dropped.
A Vigil Roam? Absolutely. I would imagine that they're going to probably keep 2 up top for most of the round. Psycho going to be playing in Kitchen, where we see a lot of bandits play. You know, you'd have a Mira inside of Kitchen, then you'd have the bandit trick, or you'd have the bandit charges downstairs. You don't really need to bandit trick much on this site at all.
Completely agree, as Yeah Gaming is already inside the bathroom. I believe someone contested FK, which is why he is so wary. There's no drones to help him in, so he's going to have to use his own Twitch drone as the rest of his team starts to push in. The only person joining right now is GCR for his team, which, depending on the map, could be different. But the top of White Stairs, PZD is going to shoot a couple bullets into FK as Yuna gets down across the map, and Wag is going to pick him up. But PZD is going to get killed, and Psycho's going to come from the corner and get FK as Wag trades out GCR. So Black Dragon's looking super strong in this situation, where they were roaming and put into a corner, but were able to fight themselves out. Now, 2 players alive, Habana, Ash, they can make it work, but they would have to answer the roamers who are still inside Kids. And I believe I saw Smoke in Master Bedroom. So yeah, Smoke in Master Bedroom. So roaming Smoke, something you don't usually see, but definitely viable. I know Pengu himself has played it a couple times, and other players themselves have enjoyed a roaming Smoke. He used to be in Year 1 Season 1. He had an ACOG for his SMG-11.
We've seen teams put Smoke upstairs inside of Kid's bedroom with a mirror window. If you have an Echo and a mirror that you can keep on site, maybe expend the Smoke for just a couple minutes or so before he can potentially fall out. You have that kitchen hatch that you can rotate through. So,
but he was mainly in Master to support his teammates, which ended up winning. And Revolt is going to take down Kamikaze. So that is the Legion down, but Psycho's going to answer back, taking down Revolt. So Spawn's left in a 1v3, 30 seconds left. Very unlikely they have surroundings around the bomb. Psycho's in a very good position, and he's Vigil, so no drone ping can help him there. Spawns looks like he's going to try and bait it out. I'm pretty sure they know, but, you know, Psycho's going to play a little aggressive and just take him out, since he didn't really have anything else he could have done. So that's going to be the round for Black Dragons, and well played by them.
So Black Dragons puts themselves up by 1. This is the final matchup between the 2 teams, our all Latin American bash that we have going on at the moment. Wouldn't be too surprised to see, and there it is, a blitz from Julio, locked in right away, spawning over in Junkyard. Could potentially see, depending on what we have for defensive composition, we could see a push through construction very quickly from this team. They have a lot of destructibility. Zofia and Ash combined with a Blitz and a Hibana. I mean, usually you will see a Thermite being able to blow that wall wide open, but
Attackers need to locate
I am as intrigued as they are. It doesn't really matter because we will go upstairs, so no construction rush possible, as it's very hard to rush a second floor site up top.
Yeah, I was very, very intrigued on what you were speaking. I completely agreed. I thought they would have gone for it. I think they might have been setting up for it. But good play from Yeah Gaming to read into it and go Kids, or maybe they just went Kids because they wanted to go Kids. But unfortunately for them, they only have the Hibana, which in Kids Room, it's used. It's not the best, but you have a whole lineup of aggressive frag-heavy operators. I'd assume they'd want to use it as best as possible. So I don't know. It's too hard to assume what they're going to do, especially since Yeah Gaming has been all over the map so far. So
attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Heavy pressure downstairs on the main floor as well, so they'll use the same mirror strat that was employed above. They'll just do it 1 floor below. Not too out of the ordinary to see that mirror downstairs. Droning being done in the western side of the building. They'll make sure that small tower is completely clear. You're almost always wary if you're going to post somebody up looking at that big window of a push from small tower. At the moment, nobody there, though. Julio is able to take out that one window barricade with a one-shot of his shield. That was likely primed by somebody ready and waiting. It's Yuna inside a bathroom just by the lockers where Julio has been able to get inside. And you can see Yuna spawns and GCR all downstairs will be the focal point for Black Dragons once they begin their assault to take out some of the roamers right now. Psycho just crouch walking his way in, has been droned by Julio, and knows that there's at least one inside a kitchen, but completely silent as a 3-speed to just walk ever so delicately. Oh. an uncharacteristic miss from Psycho on any operator other than a Glaz. Did not capitalize on Yuna. Manages to get the flash, takes out the barbed wire in front as well. Will be pushed back from shots from above. The end of Revolt's shotgun.
Fortunately for him, Psycho will pick up the kill. Yuna unfortunately is going to fall down, but Julio has been tagged down to 1 HP, and he's going to get reset by Psycho. Them doing each other a favor since they are the two lowest on the team right now, health-wise. But now it's looking in favor of Black Dragons. Again, yeah, Gaming's still in a position to completely contest it. Black Dragons haven't pushed anything up top. Like we were talking about, they have a super aggressive team, and Spawn's going to pick up a kill on PZD. Twitch, nothing too bad. But since they have such an aggressive team, they need to try and go for the kills. They can't push in and play strategic, open up walls. They're going to have to just bum rush site as fast as possible. And now they're stalling, taking their time around the main lobby kitchen areas, trying to pick off whatever rotates there are. And they're slowly starting their siege onto the site. But I fear it might be too late, especially with all the damage and the smoke still up. Ella's. It's going to be quite a disaster.
Just taking a look at what we've seen so far, my assumption, which could be wrong, is just simply that they weren't prepared for this hold that they were going to see. They were likely geared up, ready to attack downstairs. That's why they wouldn't have brought a Glaz. Yet likely you will see a Glaz up here just to watch that big window. Meanwhile, you had seen that Spawns was eliminated as he was trying to retake the mirror that Psycho was posted at. He'll take top of white stairs before pushing in and obliterates the Jaeger of FK1. It's all up to GCR, who will confront the Blitz. And oh my, no chance there at all. Black Dragons now up 2-0. And look at that.
Black Dragons did exactly what they needed to do. And I think you might be right. They were expecting to go for a rush. But since they were set back, the only thing they could have possibly done was push site, take advantage and do what they could. If anything, it's just a round that you throw away. But fortunately for them, it worked out. Psycho playing out of his mind. He was able to get 3 kills there, I believe. He did miss a little bit at the beginning, but he was able to take the kill back. He came up white stairs. He got Bandit, who was below. He came up white stairs and then took another one as the rest of his team pushed in. And Julio may not have got a kill, but he survived. He went down to 1 HP, but then Psycho got the kill. He was reset. He got tagged down by Smoke. He pushed in and got tagged down more again to 1 HP, and he was still alive. So something that a lot of teams skip over is, even if you don't have HP or you're not doing much, just having another body there scares them.
Right, and even surviving a round can make a big deal for your team. Even putting yourself in harm's way, you know, and that's one of the things that we like to heap praise on those who have high kill death ratios, like your typical entry fraggers or your roamers that are going to rack up a lot of kills. But one thing that I said about WAG was, I remember at last seasonal invitational or last seasonal finals, WAG had a very low KD, and I said it could also just simply be a situation where his team doesn't need him to get kills, so when he's dying, it's usually the round is basically already over at that point and could have been pressured, and there could just, you know, be a catastrophic failure of the roamers to kill enough time or get enough kills, and at that point, I mean, when it's a 1v5, your KD's probably not going to be very good if you're finding yourself consistently in those sorts of positions, so to speak.
Yeah, a saying that I feel should be used more is you can judge a support player's play based off of how many kills their entry fragger or who they drone in is getting. Because they're the eyes and ears for them, essentially. If you're an entry fragger, yes, you have the aim, you got to pay attention to everything, but you essentially have a team behind you mounting your push, and you do what they say, you have to trust them. And that's a big reason why a lot of starting teams don't do too well, is there's trust, doubt, and teams with an insane amount of experience like Black Dragons, and yeah, Gaming too, and other teams in general, is that they trust each other's calls and each other's judgment because they all know they're all good players.
Right. And we try to focus on now, we've tried to focus on a lot more about the droning that's going on, and when you are getting droned in, a good example of this was Gurmy Wormy from Arrow was droned in, double droned in to a match on Cafe against Reckless, and both of those drones were able to pinch one member of the defense. on Reading Room, and Gurmi had no issues getting that kill whatsoever. Could not have done that without the assistance of his team. But take a look at this. Yeah, Gaming seems completely dumbfounded at the moment by the defense that Black Dragons is putting up in front of them. You see Wag and Sledge will come to a head rather, at the top of White Stairs. GCR trying to take advantage of Wag peeking around the corner with some preemptive fire, but Wag not taking the bait. Leaves just a minute left in round 3 as we now near the deadline of action. FK gets kill number 1 as Psycho tries to get through a rotate hole inside of Pantry, and there's nothing there for him. He'll get picked apart. First logic bomb goes out from Dokkaebi of Yuna, and this is the first time that I believe we are seeing a Dokkaebi. After GCR takes some damage from Wag, will instead toss a frag grenade out, and he gets it. Wag goes down before Julio is able to answer back. Last logic bomb goes, and that phone ringing means that it will be easier for the attack to push. PZD claims Yuna as FK eliminates Julio, and PZD trying to eliminate the hanging Twitch from the window, but can't get rid of FK. Leaves just Kamikaze as Plant goes down from spawns. No issues. Diffuser down by Big Window. And FK inside of Kid's room. They have Crossfire set up, but oh my. Kamikaze managed to take out spawns as he was disoriented. FK just waiting inside of Kid's.
He heard one behind him. He knows he's there. I wonder if he's going to get the kill. Unfortunately, he won't. Reb is going to pick him up with some swift gameplay. And FK went huge there. The only problem about that was Kids and FK was able to get on the window and just shut down the 2 players in there. Beautiful communication. They had everything else done. I'm surprised they let Sledge and get White Stairs. They just gave White Stairs as easily as they did, but fortunately it happened. So that's going to be the round for Yag Gaming. They're trying to soup their way back up. So it's 2-1 in favor of Black Dragons. And Black Dragons is going to be on the attack now. So maybe, yeah, we'll be able to do some good this defense.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Another blitz coming out for Julio. No surprise. Yuna had gone from blitz to Dokkaebi, 2 operators that we're not used to saying the names of. Nice to see. We do have a very brief update for you as we had just gotten underway with our Counter Logic Gaming and Supremacy match. They are still in the very first map, but CLG has a 2-0 lead right now. Very likely that this matchup could potentially be over before the first matchup, in which case we will be updating you throughout our next game, which the last game will be occurring on this channel, which is our reigning champions, ENCE, competing against Era Eternity, a team with a that you actually used to play for, Fox.
Yep.
But with an org that was actually in the previous Invitational Finals, losing to Continuum, who won that year.
Oh, that's going to be an exciting match to watch, especially with how much Era and ENCE have both been preparing for this. But for this game, we are going to have a blitz come out from Julio. It seems to be a custom for him. And I don't know if we can, I forgot who was at the top of the scoreboard, but there was someone dropping 6 kills. Yeah, there's Psycho, the entrance fragger for Black Dragons, making a huge impact. Like we were talking about the droning. And I think a thing that was setting the 2 teams apart was, yeah, especially in their Gaming, their first round and the last round, their droning wasn't amazing. It got better in the second round, but it was iffy. But Black Dragon's droning so far on every attack round has been on point and been able to scout. Just like they've spotted someone in Kids right now, they're able to assess the situation based off of how good their droning is. And yeah, Gaming's droning is also equally as good, but they're missing a couple of the key points.
Well, this is a newer roster that's not as I guess, accustomed to playing with each other as Black Dragons has. It would stand to reason that Black Dragons, a roster that has existed for quite a while now, would have that trust and faith, as you said, in their droners. GCR sustaining some heavy damage, or rather some light damage, my apologies, from the closet just outside a master bedroom. Trapped in the closet, so to speak, as he's able to get out under fire from the Twitch of PZD.
He does have some reinforcement up there, but like we were saying, they are on every single window and door. They are going to pincer and trap them as much as possible, but there's three Gaming members out there. Even though FK has sustained some damage, it's still highly viable. They have the Legion of Sub shields, and GCR is going to take down PZD. So that is the Twitch down from the main window as the rest of the team is pushing in. Psycho isn't able to help his team, and Wag is slowly on the site, but everyone from Gaming has slowly tried falling back, but Julio is going to even the playing field, taking down Revolts, who was trying to get away, but unfortunately he couldn't find the vault. Oh, and Wag is going to get down FK, who was the last member trying to get away from the top floor.
So a swing in favor of Black Dragons, and add to that as now GCR gets punished as he had made his way outside a master bedroom. Psycho finishes him off. That'll leave just the Bandit and the Mira left as they're fighting downstairs. You would have suspected the site was up top with how much they had been wading into the fray, but with only 10 seconds, the Nitro Cell goes off. It misses as the Hibana able to push up very aggressively, gets eliminated by Yuna before Kamikaze takes him down, and it's all spawns left. Very far off site, sees the defuse, but can't manage to capitalize. Diffuser goes down, would have been able to stop it in its tracks, but Kamikaze gets the last 2 kills in that round to put Black Dragons up 3-1.
That's so unfortunate. He didn't know there was nobody on main stairs. If he would have dropped, he would have been clear to get that win for the W for the round, but unfortunately, hindsight's only 20/20, so he wasn't able to see, and we, the casters, are the only one who are able to have outlines on. So, fortunately for him, there was no call out made, but that's Black Dragons getting another round. So, fortunately for them, their play has been doing really well. Their roam denial did great. Gaming saw their time. They got an early pick, but instead of falling back, they played a little more aggressive and tested their luck to see if they could not give up the position and fight a little more, and unfortunately it didn't benefit in their favor, them losing and all being taken out on roam. So, but yeah, round 5 coming up, and it looks like Black Dragons is straying away from this game.
It looked like they put a little bit too much into their roam there, not enough lockdown on site for Gaming, and once Black Dragons was able to sweep in and clean out 1 or 2 of those roamers, there wasn't enough left off site to deal with that. You saw that Spawns had to try to come back and retake the site. Couldn't really do it, unfortunately, and found himself in a position where he was staring down the barrel of a 1v3. A daunting task for most people at this level, not something you see all the time. Now, with that said, Black Dragons on defense, they're going to run a Mute Vigil, which is what we had seen earlier from, I'm trying to remember the exact team that we saw it from, but a Mute Vigil combo that can be quite deceptive.
I think it was Liquid.
It might have been Liquid. It might have even been these teams, if I recall correctly, on Consulate, actually. It was.
It might have been.
It was. I mean, it feels like it was a different team, but it was just the very first matchup between these two. And the Vigil Mute combo was used, if I remember correctly, by Gaming, though, if they had holed up inside a bathroom. Psycho, wow, a double for Psycho as Spawns and GCR get taken out as they just get inside of tower, and Psycho's still primed to greet more members of Gaming. They've already lost 2. Your Sledge and your Ash eliminated, vanquished, and will not be seen again until round number 6.
Yep, and he just gets back into sight, safe and sound. They didn't give anything up. It's, again, the droning. I hate to stress it so much, but Gaming blindly jumped in. Of course, it was a Vigil, so they weren't able to see, but they knew he was in the area, but they jumped in. Psycho was there to get the trades, and then he was there to get out. There was no trade. His trade got killed, so there was nobody there to help Psycho, help kill Psycho.
I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
And there's already time's up. They got the main hatch, but they don't have any smokes. They don't have that much utility. They got some claymores, and they haven't taken anything. They still have, Black Dragon still has control of meeting. And PZD's going to come into contact with Yuna and going to take him down because he got hit by an Ela trap he wasn't able to see.
And that's Diffuser as well in Meeting Hall now, which is a grim prospect. You've got hatches open so PZD can rotate if he gets pressured, so he can waste time. You can still grab that Diffuser, but he can still fall off. And I'd wager that unless you're the Hibana, that Ela is going to be able to get back to site pretty quickly. PZD lights up, and he'll get FK leading just Revolts to try and clutch this for his team. If not, match point for Black Dragons, who look like they might have mastered Oregon just a little more. And we talked about potential momentum, or we talked about who was favored. Well, Gaming doesn't really stand a chance in this round, at least, as Revolts gets a couple shots. PZD drops, And they know exactly where she is. PZD with 3 kills will lift his team up this round. It is 4-1 in favor of Black Dragons. And this is the Black Dragons that I think we were expecting to see right out the gate on Consulate.
For sure. They're showing up now. Unfortunately, Yeah Gaming isn't playing like the team that we saw last match, last map or the map before. Again, it could just be they're getting restless, or they're not, or Black Dragons is just better at the map. Unfortunately for them, their droning just seems off. They're running in blindly, and they're anticipating moves from Black Dragons that aren't happening.
Trying to think too far ahead.
Yeah.
Trying to think too far ahead, trying to play that what is they say 4D chess that you're trying to play, and you're just not visualizing it appropriately. And to me, it's not even necessarily that. It's that they haven't been executing an entry as sufficiently as they need to, and they're just like getting ran over when they try to get inside of the building. I mean, the fact that you had a Vigil playing on tower, like, yeah, I would play a Vigil on rear tower or rear stage because there's so much space that he could be on any of those floors. His gadget and his ability is going to make it difficult for you to determine where he is. Yes, which is why they paired up. And as you said, they had set themselves up potentially for a trade so that even if the entry got killed, there was one more to tie it off. Didn't do it. It just ended up basically feeding 2 kills to Black Dragons, and from there that ball got rolling. Psycho, who looked a little mortal on the previous matchup, has ascended to another level now, currently at a 9-1-1, which is, for all North American fans, will be familiar with exactly, that's the number that you use to call the police.
Is it not the same number in other countries?
No.
They use another number.
They use other numbers.
All right.
Believe it or not.
No. I believe it.
So somebody can call the cops on how Psycho's playing right now, because he's killing them all.
His KD is going to be absolutely monstrous after this game.
This has been a very good performance. The one thing about Black Dragons is they have a lot of depth. That was a Bandit C4 that we saw, and it has become much more prevalent than we wanted. Spawns hucks it, but isn't able to get much. As you can see, Julio loses about 75 health. That shield does a great job of protecting them from explosives.
If that was anybody else in the shield, he'd be gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Bandit C4 is a lot more viable, I find, especially with him losing his 3rd barbed wire. And especially the nerf from Barb originally. Bandit C4 it's good anytime.
I feel like you were one of the first people I ever saw playing Bandit C4.
I've never used barbed wire ever on Bandit C4.
Never. Even though there were 3 of them.
Yeah.
Even when barbed wire was strong.
Yeah.
You're nuts.
But it's because if you think about it, if you're roaming, especially on a map like Oregon, would you rather have barbed wire? If you have a Mira inside of the kitchen, which he does, would you rather have barbed wire in the hall or on the dining door when you can have a mirror to see? Or would you rather have a C4 that if they get inside the kid's room or somewhere, you can throw it to the ceiling and C4 them?
Fair point. GCR trying to keep his team in the thick of things as down goes the Twitch. Julio still licking his wounds from earlier on when he had taken that C4 basically to the face, but with his shield able to eat most of that damage. And by most of it, I mean he should probably be dead. Black Dragons still trying to find their way into the site. Potentially the final 45 seconds between these 2 teams, both from Latin America, both fellow countrymen, and the Brazilians trying to prove that they are the superior of the 2. Psycho stalks the main window, looking to see if anybody's going to push out. As you can see, the defense still rotating below. Surveying to wait for a push on the white stairs, but nobody's coming up just yet. Yuna will get there with Revolts just around the corner. GCR's 2nd kill as he eliminates Psycho, and Yeah Gaming looks like they could potentially bring this back from the brink. Keep in mind that last map, they were on match point a number of times, not able to close it off. As Spawns takes out Julio, that leaves just 2 left. It's Wag and Kamikaze. As Yuna and FK get in on this, it is a team effort from Yeah Gaming to keep their hopes and dreams alive. It is now 4-2. Incidentally, the score that Black Dragons went to match point and couldn't get it done on Porter.
I mean, again, storylines. It could happen. Yeah, Gaming, again, a team that we've been saying that when their back's against the wall, they somehow pull it out of themselves to play like amazing. They're already playing amazing, but they play exactly on point, and you know, win the round. But something that I've been that keeps happening every round is everyone who picks Twitch ends up dying first, and it's happened in the past couple of rounds. And kills look to be evenly spread, other than Psycho and GCR, you know, being the two main fraggers who have been, like Parker said, ascending onto another level. But everyone else on the team is usually doing equally as well.
They'll bring out a Dokkaebi again. The Logic Bomb had worked as an annoyance or a disruption against them rather a couple rounds ago, especially in order to help try and facilitate a pinch upstairs. Ultimately wasn't successful because Black Dragons was still able to win that round, but I would like to see if Dokkaebi is going to have a place at all in the meta. I think there's some people who disagree with me because her phone her phone ringing can be seen as a bit annoying. I know that personally I don't particularly want to be caught having to turn off my phone repeatedly in a game. But I think that Dokkaebi is a very interesting character that can provide a lot of opportunities for this team, especially with the disruption that she brings. At this level, not really that important to have the cameras, just because most teams are shooting the cameras out just by default out of habit to begin with. And even then, you don't really have a lot of cameras in the actual sites themselves to get that information from.
If you think about it, the only round that EA Gaming was able to get before the previous one was the one where they had Dokkaebi and FK on this exact push. Yuna called the phones where the players and kids, you know, their phones were ringing, and FK was able to go to the window, break it on the rappel, get 2 kills for his team, and pretty much open up all of top floor. Now, a minute's already gone by, and the first Logic Bomb is going to come out, but no push is going to be happening. Again, it is a queuable, it's like a gadget. Once you get called, you can go on it, go off it. So
you can ignore it. Yeah. I know that there are people who will bait it out as well. You'll hear it go off, somebody will go to push the person who has it on fully well expecting, similar to how the way that Jackal tracks work.
Exactly. So it's like a double-edged sword, essentially. But it definitely has its benefits, as half of the round has already gone by, and it still looks like they're trying to take kids. It still looks like they're trying to take kitchen, as Psycho's going to be inside of kids holding down through the prone holes. GCR is going to see the bandit inside of meeting, but he isn't going to contest. If they're doing the same push that they were last time, it's going to be a big window and white take, and since Black Dragons seem to give them white themselves, I feel like it might go in favor of EA Gaming. They have control. It's going to rely on PZD and WAG to come up from a flank, and right now it's looking grim. Oh.
Somehow Mira manages to escape that frag grenade. Julio should be a dead man walking at this point, but it requires both GCR and FK to come up with one batting cleanup. That will put a lot of pressure on Kamikaze to play the top of white stairs from a reverse angle inside of small dorms, since that Mira is now opened up. With one down, you can see some damage being dealt out to EA Gaming, and they're just going to look to try to take advantage of the space that they have. FK charges in, down goes PZD, who was playing up top. Psycho still inside of Kid's dorms, but Kamikaze trying to level the playing field. GCR gets eliminated, and that is going to leave a 3v4. Another tries to come up to take Kamikaze, but he can't challenge. Now Psycho, now playing smoke, will deprive them of the defuse, sees the Ying out the window, goes for the jump out, misses, no, and spawns with the knife to the chest, but the diffuser is still down. They'll need to pick it up and start to plant as FK, a big double kill, and Black Dragons cannot close it out again. Are we gonna see us go to overtime because Black Dragons simply can't get the job done on match point?
That would be an insane matchup. An insane match itself to watch. Yeah, Gaming being pushed against the wall every map, essentially, and overcoming it. If they won, the storyline would be insane. But Black Dragons, it looks like they're struggling. They get to the match point, and they stop playing like they've been playing the whole game. They kind of get maybe a little antsy. They try pushing a little bit extra that they shouldn't, and if they want to win, they're gonna have to keep playing the way they've been playing for the whole game and try not to switch things up that aren't working. Like, don't break it. What's the saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is now, Black Dragons has had 5 opportunities to finish the match on match point and have been unable to convert a single one so far. Now they did it on the first map. Consulate seemed to be a bit of a cakewalk for them. We said the same here. It was 4-1. It is now 4-3. And we're going to see Gaming go on to defense.
5 seconds remaining.
They're going to be able to go downstairs, the most preferable site to most teams to defend
Attackers
against.
have recovered their diffuser. Attackers must locate.
They're not going
and
to roll
defuse
the die
bomb.
on a blitz. This looks like a pretty normal composition. A Ying, a Thatcher, an Ashe, a Hibana, a Thermite. Both teams have been running Thermite an awful lot. I don't know if they're trying to incorporate some push on that rear stage or back tower, because it seems to get thwarted almost every single time by a roamer over there and the inability to clear out that back tower. So we'll see how they're able to use it. They know that there's at least one roamer in there. They see the bandit as spawns, and they're going to continue to drone. Very smartly, Wag has his drone up top. The bandit will see and shoot out one, maybe suspecting that he's safe. He'll now see another, and he is just going to continuously get shot at and try to be pushed out, but he himself will retreat to safety after taking a couple shots.
It just goes to show Black Dragons is doing a way better at taking big tower than Gaming was. Again, I think it's based off of the droning, and he got spotted, shot drones, almost got taken out, but successfully, got away. And it's just, it must be frustrating for Black Dragons to keep getting to match points and getting to where they want to be and thinking like, oh, we got this in the bag, or we got this. And then, unfortunately, a mix-up happens or a good play from Gaming happens, and then they lose. Do you think a consistent, because you said they've had 5 chances, so do you think a consistent set of upsets like that could affect the way they're playing, and at this point they're kind of upset?
I'm not going to try to get in their heads, but I can only imagine from my own perspective, if my team had a chance, 1, 2, especially 5 chances, to put away your enemy and call it a day, and you couldn't do it, yeah, there's absolutely some frustration that sets in, and I would imagine that frustration grows exponentially by every chance that they fail to convert on. So you have to suspect that at this point, they're going to be very, very unhappy if they can't get it done. But Psycho, leading by example, will punish Yuna, and that's the mirror down. We could see Black Dragons manage to make their 6th chance work, as Julio now eliminates FK1, and this is what Black Dragons need. Don't set yourself up for trades. Don't go for a refrag. Psycho a 2nd kill, and it's just Revolts and GCR now. Make that just GCR. The Ella will need to clutch ace as Kamikaze takes down Revolts. GCR goes down, and Black Dragons as Kamikaze eliminates GCR, and finally they get to shake.
Great play.
Yeah, game.
6 times the charm. So
absolutely.
Psycho definitely showing up at that last round, especially. He was playing great throughout all of the match, but definitely, especially that last round, he really wanted to get that W for his team. Opening kill, played consistent, 12 kills on the guy. He played out of his